Hi, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harned with our whole wave storm tracking team. I want to give you just a quick minute-and-a-half update during the commercial break so you know what's happening. We are tracking storms that are moving in our direction. At this point, they're all severe thunderstorm warnings with the tornado possible tag that comes along them. We do see the opportunity for severe weather to move in. We've already had 59-mile-per-hour winds in Louisville. You can see some of that rain spreading across parts of southern Indiana. The main line of storms just now moving into southwest Indiana, where we have strong winds pushing in. Additional thunderstorms to our south near Hopkinsville, severe. Let's go to Carson Meredith, who's been keeping an eye on the weather and the winds all day.
Yeah, we're still tracking those wind gusts, Kevin, around 35 miles an hour, again, before the storms even move in. And we'll be watching this main line of storms, the second line of storms, the line on the left side of the radar screen that you see here. This is where we have the highest risk for maybe some of those wind gusts getting closer to 65, maybe 70 miles per hour, Ryan Hoke, as the storms move in, likely into Du Bois County just after the 10 o'clock hour.
And we're going to be tracking the reports and the power outages. About 2,100 customers without power here in the Louisville area right now. Scott County about 106. That's all down from earlier as power crews continue to restore power from the winds that we had.
All right, we'll be here to keep you updated. We'll certainly break into a few more commercials throughout the evening. Meanwhile, we're live streaming if you're interested in nonstop weather coverage. For the Wave Storm Tracking Team, I'm Kevin Harned. Thanks for trusting us. Hi, everybody. Wave News Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harned, Carson Meredith, Ryan Hoke, Brian Good. We're all part of the coverage tonight as we track these storms into the area. The tornado watch is in place until 3 o'clock across the area. You can see the severe thunderstorm warnings lined up back out to the west of us. At this point, they're all severe thunderstorm warnings. They're mainly along one of two lines. The initial line is the farthest one away. That has the most action along it across southwest Indiana. Other storms are now moving across parts of Indiana as well. Those are non-severe from Bedford down toward Paoli, Jasper. We'll watch as that main line approaches within the next half hour to 45 minutes. We could see additional warnings issued for southern Indiana. And then obviously across parts of Kentucky, we're tracking these storms as well. Wind is the main issue, and we've already had plenty of that today. Carson?
Yeah, we sure have. The peak wind gust earlier today, Kevin, outside of thunderstorms was 59 miles per hour. And that was right here in Louisville at Muhammad Ali International Airport. We had upwards of 5,500 people without power here in Jefferson County today, according to LG&E. Those numbers have since gone down. What you see behind me is radar of the second line of storms that is severe, crossing over Vincennes and Evansville, Indiana. These warnings are for mainly 60-mile-per-hour winds, but there is that tag of a tornado possible. So we'll continue to monitor not only the straight line wind concern with these storms tonight, but also that risk for minor spin-up tornadoes, Ryan, within this line of storms.
Right, and for those folks who are worried about the winds outside their window right now, these are what we call gradient winds in front of the storms. Right now, these are not at severe levels, 36 miles per hour here in Louisville. Bardstown just updated to 23. So these winds will become more of a concern when the storms move in later tonight, getting a little closer to that 11 o'clock hour thereafter, Kevin.
Yeah, it really is a wind maker. This isn't something where everybody is going to see damage. Earlier today, when we were tracking these storms, there was a number of tornado warnings lined up along that initial line, which is why we're all in place and all here tracking it. But at this point, there could be some random damage. Frankly, we've already seen that today. So we'll probably be tracking these through the area over the course of the next 3 hours or so. We'll be back with more updates as needed. You're watching the Wave Storm Tracking Team right here during a commercial break in the NBA. Hi, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harned with you. Our whole team is assembled today. We've been tracking these storms over the last several hours. As they've been moving closer, they have somewhat weakened. The tornado threat has eased just a bit, but a number of severe thunderstorm warnings remain along that boundary. And clearly, we're going to have the opportunity to see some stronger storms, even as these two lines merge together. And that should happen within the next hour to hour and a half, close to the I-65 corridor. That's where we'd be concerned, where we could have some small areas of rotation that could put down some strong wind gust. Already today, we've seen 59-mile-per-hour gusts in Louisville. That was enough to knock out power to over 5,000 people for a time, or 5,000 customers. Things have eased a bit since then, Carson, and that's some good news, but we shouldn't let our guard down just yet.
Not yet. So far, so good, but you mentioned we'll have to keep an eye on these two lines of storms, how they merge together. Will they weaken each other, or will we have some areas rotation develop? That's what we'll have to watch over the next hour. Highest wind gusts within these storms so far, Ryan, in Indiana and Kentucky, 54 miles per hour in Vincennes, Indiana.
And we'll keep an eye on those damage reports, both from the National Weather Service and you folks at home via MPing, M-P-I-N-G. That's an app you can submit your wind damage reports on. You can see a few of those. Just from the winds we had today before the storms, Kevin, that 59-mile-per-hour gust in Louisville did a number on us.
Yeah, and we're still seeing some strong winds. That's going to be the case this evening. We're here to keep you updated. We're live streaming on all of our social channels, Fire Stick, Roku, as well as Amazon TV. Hi, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harned. Ryan Hoke is with us. Carson Meredith. Brian Good is also working tonight. We've got you covered with severe weather. The first warning of the night for our viewing area is out, and that is Du Bois County. This is a severe thunderstorm warning, up to 60-mile-per-hour winds. In fact, we had 65-mile-per-hour winds just reported out of the Evansville area. So this warning continues across the region. This will be the first of a few, not just in southern Indiana, but eventually down into Kentucky as well. You can see that line of storms approaching. Some areas will be faced with damaging wind, as we have been throughout the day. Our winds have been howling all day long, Carson.
59 miles per hour was the peak gust earlier this afternoon here in Louisville. And within this line of storms, there's still that risk for 60, maybe 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. We're also keeping an eye on any areas of rotation that try to develop within this line of storms. There's one area I'm watching in particular. It's just outside of our coverage area, but near the Hart community, Hart, Indiana, right along I-64. As you're getting closer to Evansville, there is some very small rotation trying to develop, and the main threat continues to be those straight line winds upwards of 60 to 70 miles an hour, Ryan, but we still can't rule out that risk for at least one or two spin-up tornadoes tonight.
Right, we'll watch that like a hawk. That's really tough to monitor in this setup, but thankfully we do have eyes and ears on the ground. We will be watching for wind reports this evening, passing those along to you, and of course we've got those sensors with the wind gusts too. The latest one, Jeffersonville, the Clark County Regional Airport there, 40-mile-per-hour wind gust within the last few minutes there, so that adds on to the 59-mile-per-hour wind gusts we had in Louisville today, guys. And of course these wind gusts are all before the storms even approach, so kind of a double whammy here, the wind gusts ahead of the storms and the wind gusts inside the storms that are moving in our direction, Kevin.
Oh, you can see the measuring station at the airport in Evansville, the 64-mile-per-hour wind. This is just one report out of many that we will have as the evening continues. We're tracking these storms. We're on during the commercial breaks during the NBA game to give you an update. As this line of storms moves closer to Louisville, probably arrival somewhere around 11 to midnight. Not everybody's going to see severe weather, but some will. We continue our live stream, but for those watching the NBA on Wave, we'll get you back to programming. Hi, everybody. Wave News Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harned. Carson Meredith, if I can get it out of my mouth, and Ryan Hoke here. If you've been watching our live stream, you know Brian Good just gave us a live report from the southern part of Jefferson County as well. These winds are starting to pick up. The severe weather threat is still there. It's just now knocking on our door. We are tracking severe thunderstorm warnings opposed to what we just had earlier, which was a line of tornado warnings in many instances. This is still a wall of wind. The only severe thunderstorm warning that we have for our viewing area happens to be for Du Bois County, and you're going to notice as I sort of line up the radar to that, this is over toward Jasper, and that storm is approaching, and that includes Ferdinand, Huntingburg, Jasper. This also now has 60-mile-per-hour winds with the tornado possible tag added to it, which we expected that. If we look at the velocity on this, you can see that is some powerful wind moving into northwestern parts of Du Bois County. How powerful? Carson, we've already seen these wind speeds 65 miles an hour in Evansville. I say we could certainly see that in Du Bois County.
It looks as though, Kevin, this line of severe storms is starting to get its act together. We have those two separate lines of storms starting to congeal. Sometimes that allows the storms to weaken. That is not the case tonight. This entire line of storms now has severe thunderstorm warnings across the board. 60, 65-mile-per-hour wind gusts. We just saw it in Evansville, like Kevin mentioned a few minutes ago. And we'll have to watch not only that risk for damaging straight-line winds, but any small little spin-up tornadoes that may try to develop. And it looks as though, Ryan, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning now for Grayson County, Kentucky.
Yeah, that's also, of course, a concern for us at Grayson County. Of course, severe thunderstorm warning there. We're going to watch the wind reports. We saw, of course, Evansville, and of course the current wind gusts too, Kevin, if you want to get that warning.
Yeah, let's just tackle this one. This is for Butler, Grayson, and Ohio. Same deal. It's a 60-mile-per-hour wind potential with the tornado possible. This now for Grayson County until 10:15 Central Time, so that will go until 11:15 local time here in Louisville. We're tracking the storms. We'll continue with the nonstop coverage on our stream with interruptions during the commercial breaks on Wave during the NBA. Stay tuned for updates. Hi, everybody. Wave News Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harned, Carson Meredith, Ryan Hoke, Brian Good. We're all tracking the storms tonight. Tawan will be with you earlier in the morning. You can see a number of severe thunderstorm warnings now for both Indiana and Kentucky. Those are lined up just to our west and will be moving in. We are tracking this line of storms as it approaches with strong wind. Winds upwards of, I'd say, 60 to 70 miles an hour possible. Tornadoes, they're still possible as well as we move these winds through. It won't be necessarily for everybody, but there could be multiple places that are faced with some strong winds. Carson, you're watching a storm farther to the south showing more potential of rotation.
Yeah, indeed, Kevin. This is basically a supercell that's moving through parts of Ohio, Butler County, Kentucky, and it's also on track to move into western Grayson County over the next 15 to 30 minutes. You'll note that rotation. It's there. It's persistent. So we're going to be watching that closely, Ryan, as it crosses Interstate 165 eventually to Grayson County over the next 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, watching that storm as well as the wind gusts that we've had today. 46-mile-per-hour gust in Du Bois County and Jasper. With these storms moving through, we'll let you know in real time, Kev.
All right, Tornado Watch until 3. We're streaming constantly on all of our streams. More updates during the NBA right here on Wave. Everybody, Wave Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harned, Ryan Hoke is here. Brian Good's been out reporting with us. We also have Carson Meredith. We're tracking this line of storms moving across the entire region. They are producing very strong winds. Along that entire line, you can see a number of severe thunderstorm warnings stretching from the northern part of our viewing area all the way to the southern on the western side. These will be the strongest winds that move in our direction. So, yes, the opportunity for severe weather and the potential for isolated tornadoes will be there. Again, severe thunderstorm warnings are in place. Tornadoes possible with these. We've already seen winds today 59 miles an hour without the thunderstorms. Carson, 65-mile-per-hour winds with damage reported from Evansville over toward parts of Du Bois County.
Yeah, we just got our first reported damage in our area tonight. This was in Huntingburg. Telephone pole down and a tree down on fire in Huntingburg. So this gives you an idea of the kind of storm, the intensity of these storms, Ryan. And we're also watching this supercell that's starting to make its way into Grayson County, still rotating a bit.
Yeah, of course, we'll watch all of those storms for you and watch the power outages now. Crawford County, Indiana, also seeing some brand new power outages there. We'll continue to track the storms on our Wave Weather Now live stream. Now back to the NBA on NBC.
Great shot by.
Welcome, folks, in. Ladies and gentlemen, folks watching on Wave, we interrupt the NBA to bring you tornado warning coverage. We thought this may happen, and here we are tonight with a new tornado warning that's been issued for parts of the viewing area. This is Grayson and Hardin counties in our area until 10:45 Central Time. That's their local time, or here in Louisville, that's 11:45. So we're going to be on the air with you for just a while as we continue to track these storms. We still have some time. The National Weather Service is giving plenty of lead time on these storms to make sure that everybody can find their way to safe spaces as these storms approach. And that's true for both the severe thunderstorm warnings and the tornado warnings that are being issued tonight. So this one happens to be for Grayson and Hardin counties, Cecilia, Litchfield, Welch's Creek, all for that storm just out to the west of Louisville. That's one of many storms that we are tracking, guys.
Yeah, we've been watching this cell, Kevin, for the last 45 minutes to an hour. This one cell has had supercell characteristics just ahead of the main line of storms. And I got to be honest with you, it's really hard to nail down exactly which rotation we're looking at. If we can take max 2 full very quickly, I want to draw your attention to those 2 areas of rotation that we're watching with this. One of which is crossing into western Grayson County right now, west of Caneyville. That rotation has been consistent for quite some time. It looks like it might be strengthening just a bit. There could also be some broad broad rotation just north of Morgantown, Kentucky, right there along Interstate 165. And these storms are moving very, very quickly. That's why this tornado warning stretches all the way into western Hardin County. These storms are moving northeast at, get this, Kevin, 75 miles per hour. So these storms are really making tracks as we go through the next 45 minutes with this particular tornado warning. No reports of tornadoes on the ground yet.
You know, we had reports earlier out of the Du Bois County area, power lines, power poles actually coming down.
Yeah, so they had a power pole come down. It's on fire, believe it or not. 45, 46 mile per hour wind gust in the Du Bois County area from Jasper to Ferdinand. And very well, we could see some additional wind gusts well over 60 miles per hour, especially moving into like the English area right now and into northern parts of Perry County. That's what I'm showing you over here is that push of wind. This is outside the tornado warning, but we could still have some damaging winds even outside that red polygon on the bottom of your screen there. So we don't want to forget about the folks in southern Indiana. We don't want to forget about the folks in extreme north central Kentucky, closer to the Ohio River here, where this push of wind will be moving through here in pretty short order. But the main focus, of course, would be the tornado warning because of those areas of rotation that we've been tracking within the warning and the storm there, Kev.
Yeah, you know, we knew today would be a wind maker, and that's the real big deal about today is that we have very strong winds moving in. And regardless if you're in the tornado warning or one of the many severe thunderstorm warnings, and let me show you because it is a wall of severe thunderstorm warnings. Those are the yellow polygons that you see. So everybody to our westernmost counties are under a severe thunderstorm warning. And the winds even there have the potential to be very strong. Does that mean everybody gets the 70 mile per hour winds? No. Is it possible that a few places will? Certainly. Could we even see minor tornadoes along that line? Yes. So a lot of these severe thunderstorm warnings come with the tag tornado possible. And then, of course, the ones that show the greatest rotation get flagged as the tornado warning, which is what we're seeing just to our south. So the radar goes back on. I'm going to zoom back into that area to our south, guys. And let me just zoom in. This, again, is the tornado warning for Butler, Edmondson, Grayson, and Hardin County. And looking at the rotation on that, again, tough to pick out, as Carson mentioned. We can toggle between the several velocities that we have, but in general, not far from Welch's Creek down maybe even toward Morgantown.
Yeah, that's why the warning is out, Kevin. There's a second circulation just north of Morgantown, and that's what drew their attention to go ahead and issue that tornado warning. But it's a bit messy, like we talked about, because you've got the supercell ahead of the line of storms and the line itself starting to merge just a little bit. So it's a bit of a messy view to try to make out where exactly these pockets of rotation are.
And moving just at a super quick clip.
75 miles per hour.
And that's part of the reason why it's tough to pick out the rotation, too. We're having to subtract out the storm motion from the winds that we're looking at when we show you those wind velocity views there. So there's not a whole lot of time to react here for you folks in western Grayson County. If you're in a mobile home, it is time to evacuate said mobile home and go to a sturdy structure like a business, a friend's house down the street with a basement.
New tornado warning on the lower part of that, as you can see.
That's Western Hart that's going to be involved with that.
Also, the very, very southern edge of Grayson. Basically, if you're in Grayson County, all of the county, you're now under a tornado warning in addition to Hart and Hardin.
I'm going to leave the radar up, but I want to bring in Brian Good. I know he's working as well and keeping an eye on it, so he's not up, but he's sending some information in. They're trying to confirm a 90 mile per hour wind potential out of Todd County on that storm. That's the same part that we're watching, so that could be part of it too. You start to get 90 mile per hour winds again along that entire sort of Boeing segment. That is a wicked looking signature in general, just moving in that general vicinity, regardless of rotation. That could still produce super strong winds as it moves toward Davis, Crossroads, Greencastle, Brownville, eventually into western parts of Hart County, southern parts of Grayson County. So that area obviously has our attention. There are many areas that have our attention on the map tonight. We have a number of severe thunderstorm warnings. The Weather Service also keeping an eye on what's going on in Orange County. And I'll just zoom the radar out so you can see, in addition to the tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings approaching. I know a lot of people are asking, when for me? When will this be in my area? So I'm going to zoom in to our counties to the north. Let me turn the warnings off just a second so they don't overwhelm the screen. And we'll go through it. So if you're in Bedford, severe threats over. Mitchell, severe threats over. Jackson County, be on standby. Severe thunderstorm warnings likely coming out for Jackson County. To the south, Orange County, Indiana. We take a look at the reflectivity. Now we're looking at the velocity. You can see what the Weather Service is looking at on that as well. And we have a little bit of an inflow notch there. That would be a concern for some very strong winds. That's an area. And let's zoom into that area just a little bit closer, because as we zoom into that, you're going to see Youngs Creek, Ethel, and Southeast, just past Patoka Lake. Guys?
One thing to note, we may be getting to a point, fellas, where we're starting to see tornado warnings. Even if there's not a ton of rotation, these storms are so intense with the straight line wind potential, upwards of 70 to 80 miles per hour, that the
New
Weather
warning,
Service,
and this is for that we're talking about,
wants to issue these tornado warnings so folks can get to their safe place. This tornado warning, Kevin, for that storm in Indiana you were just showing a moment ago.
I'll show it again just so folks can see it, and we can keep having the conversation because this is just going to keep getting more and more active, guys. So this is the Clark Orange Washington County storm. Again, possibility for some super strong winds with this. This affects New Pekin, Salem, and Stampers Creek. This may not be what you think of, as Carson pointed out. I mean, you look at the lightning count in this, it's just 4. So this isn't some major tornado that's on the ground. It really is just intense wind in particular locations. And when we look at the velocity on this, we were in the process of sort of calling out some of those locations. So let's just dive in a little more. It's that notch near Ethel as it moves across and toward Pine Valley. It will eventually cross US 150 just south of Paoli.
And let's be clear, sorry, Ryan, this tornado warning for Clark County right now does not include Clarksville. It does not include Jeffersonville. It's really for those of you out towards Borden in western Clark County, Ryan.
And that's super important to note because, we call it these counties, but it can only be, just a few acres of a county, literally, that's under that warning.
Caneyville Fire Chief is reporting a tornado on the ground in Caneyville near the Western Kentucky Parkway.
So
with that southern storm. Tornado now down, according to the Caneyville Fire Chief.
And that is Grayson County.
Correct.
So tornado on the ground near the Western Kentucky Parkway. So you can see the velocity showing what we would now...
Yeah, there's a little bit of debris showing.
Yeah, there's a debris signature.
And let me just pop that on.
Please, yeah. This is right along Highway 62. This is maybe a mile north of the Western Kentucky Parkway, but where you see that blue that Kevin is trying to highlight there near Caneyville, that is the radar picking up stuff that is not rain, that is not any kind of hail, but it's mainly just rain. It's picking up something that's not rain. And that's where we're likely seeing what appears to be a tornado on the ground.
You can certainly see the inflow.
Yes. This is the same supercell that we've been tracking for almost an hour now. You see that blue area just right over Caneyville. That is debris being picked up by radar from what is apparently a confirmed tornado down in western Grayson County.
We're going to send the storm tracker that way to see if there's any kind of damage. It is a tornado that's on the ground. We'd like the newsroom to also make calls to see if we can get someone just on the phone. So Grayson County, Blake is heading up their emergency management. So if anybody is available to help us understand what's happening in Grayson County. What we can tell you is what we're looking at on radar. What we can also tell you is what the emergency management's reporting, and that is a tornado on the ground. Clearly, our focus goes to this. The debris detector is showing that debris, which is certainly relevant to the radar. It would be near the Caneyville area. That blue zone is sort of one that looks out of place, and that's exactly what that means. So as we take off, and I'll just sort of wipe off this box, you're going to still see the potential in that area for the tornado. So zooming in a little bit further to give folks a heads up on where we're talking about. We'd be talking about right along Highway 79, not far from Post, not far from Pine Knob, and then lifting off to the north and east. This will go toward Millwood. Should stay just south of Short Creek at this point, but very close. So that is the zone that we're watching.
There's another pocket of rotation, Kevin, that's developing along the Breckenridge, Grayson County line. near Axtell.
Yep, and that's right at Rough River Lake.
Yes, Rough River Lake, some broad rotation. It needs to be watched as well. These storms have really started to rotate rather quickly here over the last 15 minutes. So we're going to be watching southern Breckinridge County for maybe another possible tornado trying to get its act together. You see Kevin circling that area we're watching now.
So we have that all in our scope and in our eyes. We'll watch that. The one of main concern is the one that clearly gets the attention, and that is where we have the tornado on the ground. Anytime we see actual reports, especially late at night, we urge you to get to your tornado safe place. If you are in the Caneyville, it's now just passing you. So this would be across Grayson County along the Western Kentucky Parkway or just north of the Western Kentucky Parkway. You should be in your tornado safe place. That's the lowest level. It's away from windows. It's in an interior place. If you're in mobile homes, those are not safe places. You don't have a lot of time to get to your location in Grayson County because these storms are moving fast. So if you're asleep, if you know people that are in Grayson County north of the Western Kentucky Parkway, make sure you give them a call, let them know what's happening at this point. Again, that is where we have the strongest rotation showing up on radar.
At the moment, that tornado has lifted. But the rotation is still there. So whatever tornado was on the ground, we're getting a report that it has now lifted. But this is a kind of setup tonight where these tornadoes are not going to be on the ground for a long period of time. These are not these big wedge tornadoes tonight, Ryan. They're going to be these small little spin-ups that might just hopscotch the ground from time to time.
Yeah, so we need to kind of treat all of these tornado-warned storms as if they could put a tornado down at any point here. We've got the big board. It shows all 3 tornado warnings. I know when we show you the map, sometimes it's tough to digest. There's so much going on here. What you need to know is that parts of Clark, Orange, Washington, Grayson, Hart, Hardin counties all are under tornado warnings right now. Not the entire counties, but parts of those counties. The Wave Weather app can show you and help guide you to whether you're in that warning or not. It's also really important to know where you're at within these counties here. If you are under a tornado warning, and frankly, if you're even just under a severe thunderstorm warning tonight, make sure you're inside. If you're inside that tornado warning, make sure right now you're in a basement or a storm shelter. Underground is the best, but the first level of your home, away from doors and windows, like a center hallway closet, a center bathroom, if you've got like a powder room in the middle of your house there, or maybe you're, just got a closet in the hallway there. Get in there, cover your head, wear shoes, make sure your kids are protected. Blankets and what have you are a great way to also cover yourself, to protect yourself just in case. Again, this is if you were in a tornado warning. If you are in a mobile home, now is the time to evacuate. You have got to get out of that thing. Even straight line winds can be a problem for mobile homes. We've seen that time and again just this very past week where we've had damage because of that. So please take your tornado precautions right now. If you're under a tornado warning, if you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, be inside, be away from doors and windows. And if you're in that mobile home and you're under one of these warnings, now is the time to take action. Get somewhere safe. Friend's house in a basement, neighborhood business, maybe a gas station down the street to say, hey, can we just stay in here for a little bit? This is maybe more of a sturdy structure than I have at home. Great thing to do, guys. Your family's protection is, of course, our #1 priority here, so we want to make sure everybody's safe.
We have a number of folks out watching the weather with us. Corey Trent's one of the storm chasers from across the region and knows the area where this tornado warning is very well. He's not too far from Amy Hill, and he's on the Western Kentucky Parkway. We've been showing what it looks like near there. He's going to run by and see if there's any damage in that zone. Nonetheless, from the emergency manager, that's what we had at the time, and we'll just see if there was any damage. Certainly, it looked like by radar we could have seen some being lofted into the atmosphere, which is what the correlation coefficient showed us, or our debris detector. You're looking at the velocity on the storm to the south, still seeing some of that rotation now approaching the Litchfield area. So folks in Litchfield, you should be in your tornado safe place, lowest level away from windows as this storm now moves past Millwood, right up from Caneyville to Litchfield. That's the zone.
The further south tornado warning. So we're looking at the tornado warning over Grayson County. The tornado warning that Kevin is taking you down to now. This is technically outside of our coverage area, but for those of you in Butler, Edmondson, Warren County, if you have any family there, we got a report a few minutes ago from the Butler County Mesonet station of 68-mile-per-hour winds. The tornado warning is in place because there is some rotation that's trying to develop in the northern parts of Warren County, southern Butler County, if you're familiar with that part of the state. And that's the reason why we have the tornado warning for Hart County. So we've got two distinct areas of rotation we're watching. One near Caneyville that has had a confirmed history of producing a tornado, and then further south, there's some rotation still with that southern flank of the storm north of Bowling Green. That will be moving into Hart County over the next 15 to 20 minutes. And as we have told you, that has had confirmed wind gusts, Kevin, upwards of 68 miles per hour as that particular portion of the storm moved through Butler County.
Yeah, and from our newsroom for Grayson County, no reports of damage, but it's still very early in the game. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time for the damage to come in.
And we just got an update from the National Weather Service on the Orange County tornado warning. They're still watching that. The original sort of kink in the line there is starting to straighten out some, but they're still seeing that nub on reflectivity. You can see it right where that arrow is, and you can see that velocity there.
It's perked back up just a little bit in the last scan, it looks like.
So this is literally scan by scan. You know, in a minute's time, things can change here. So we have to keep our eyes on all of these storms. That's why we're kind of triaging the situation with multiple storms, multiple meteorologists here, guys.
I want to bring in Brian just while we keep the radar up to have the conversation with us. Well, he's down again. We'll go back to him.
Orange County just popped up with 252 customers without power just in the last minute or two.
And a new severe thunderstorm warning now in place nearby that tornado warning, Kevin.
Big wind maker on this, and I'm going to just take off the reflectivity so it's not as cluttered. You can see the large polygon sort of flashing, and I'll go to that. That is that area where we have, and I think it's easier to see if I just put the watch boxes up, but that's a large area that goes from southern Jackson County all the way down to northern Harrison County. Several warnings embedded within that warning, but that's for that wall of wind moving in. So this is a huge wind maker for a number of folks, especially in those little bowed out areas where we have kinks in the line. That's where we have the strongest push of wind. It's very concentrated. The low-level jet continues to ramp up. We see it every night at this time. It's just a matter that it typically doesn't come to the ground. And what is happening on that is the fact is we bring that wind down thanks to these thunderstorms that are overhead. It seems to rush out, and it can down trees, power lines, telephone poles. We're seeing a lot of damage in local places. This is not a derecho. This is not something where it's just massive wind along the entire line, but embedded within that line are pockets of very heavy wind, some rotating enough to be tornado warnings, others being straight line winds, still causing the same type of damage, if you will. So let's bring in Brian Good, who's also working with us this evening. And Brian, I know you were talking about the low-level jet. I want to keep the radar up while we're talking to Brian.
Yeah, exactly. That wind belt we've been tracking, it actually is the strongest now that it's been, of course, the entire day. They've had strong winds to the west, but this is the max wind. This is our big concern is how the two would overlap when you get the moisture moving in right when this jet right over our heads at the moment is racing. And we're seeing that surge translating up the line from around Clarksville, Tennessee, Bowling Green, Kentucky, into Litchfield, tracking up the line. So this may build into a little bit more of a wind threat as we head into parts there of Hardin County, at least the northern part of Hardin County, and maybe even Boyd County. I'm located, by the way, in southern Jefferson, right along the Snyder Freeway here into along Preston Highway. Boyd County line, not too far away from me down here to the south. We're monitoring the trends carefully here. The rain has picked up, but this is just the rain in advance of the main storms. But Kevin, if that trajectory holds on that little surge of wind, that jet that we're seeing, we will likely get a very likely extension county-wide, or I should say area-wide, from one end of our viewing area to the other. We should have widespread warnings as the slam moves to the east. That's at least the trend that looks like right now.
All right, you're right. And we have the latest warning right up against the Jefferson County area. That includes Breckenridge, Harrison, Meade, Perry. That would include Corydon, Flaherty, and Patesville. Again, radar indicated tornado possible, 60-mile-per-hour winds with that. We've already had 60-mile-an-hour winds today, 59 earlier. That knocked out power to about 5,000 customers here in Louisville. Get the flashlights ready. Some folks are going to see their power knocked out. That's certainly going to be the case. Ryan's going to give us an update on power outages coming up in just a minute. But as we track along this line, you can see the number of severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings that we have. I'll remove the warnings for just a second as we analyze what's going on up and down this line of storms across parts of the viewing area. And really, we're bisecting the entire viewing area. Now, west of I-65 is where we have the strongest, soon to cross over I-65 within the next 45 minutes. And then we'll spend the next hour after that taking taking it across, say, from midnight to 1 a.m. to our east. But for now, those warnings continue to stack up across parts of Indiana and Kentucky. Obviously, we have the tornado warnings. We have several of those. The one of most concern was where we had the emergency management reporting a tornado on the ground near Caneyville. And you can see that that storm continues with the tornado warning for parts of Grayson and Hardin counties. That would be Cecilia, Litchfield, Welch's Creek. That is the tornado warning that goes until 11:45 our time here in Louisville, 10:45 local time. Carson?
Yeah, we'll focus on the tornado warning in southern Indiana. Let's clear a couple of folks. Orange County, you are now out of the tornado warning. You can come out of your safe place. The tornado warning continues for Washington County and at least a teeny tiny little sliver of Clark County. We're talking those of you near Borden. That's it in Clark County. This is really a Washington County situation here, and the rotation is still persistent. It hasn't really intensified. It hasn't weakened either. So it's crossing the orange Washington County line, moving into Washington County now. There's, you see the updated radar scan. Those of you near Livonia, Becks Mill, Salem, you are in the path of this possible tornado. Haven't had any confirmed reports just yet. And these storms, as we have talked about all night, are moving very quickly. This particular tornado warning moving northeast at 65 miles per hour. So again, we're keeping a close eye on this storm in southern Indiana and Washington County, Indiana. That rotation, at least on this scan, Ryan, has weakened a touch, but we'll still have to keep an eye on it here over the next 30 minutes.
Scan by scan, minute by minute, that's where we're tracking these storms because of the potential for a tornado to drop at any time from any one of these here. We're tracking the power outage potential here. We've got Lawrence County, Indiana. 1,500 folks are without power there at the moment. That's about 4.5%. And then, of course, we get you into Orange County. That's one of the newest ones. New severe thunderstorm warning coming out there. 252 folks without power in the Orange County area. Where is that new severe thunderstorm warning? We'll query it, and you'll see, of course, that's the big old box there that's flashing. That's E-Town, Hodgenville, Munfordville. Considerable damage threat, guys. I think that may be the first time I've seen considerable tag on this here. Tornado possible, 70-mile-per-hour winds. This is dancing right down the Western Kentucky Parkway. E-Town, Hodgenville, areas south of Shepherdsville, Lebanon Junction, Munfordville. If you're in areas a little closer to LaRue County there, just west of Hodgenville, you're under the gun as well. So we'll continue to monitor all these warnings.
The storms are moving at about 55 to 65 miles an hour. They are moving very fast, so they will breeze in and breeze out. I want to go to Corey Trent's live image while we watch this on the radar. He is in the heart of that storm near the Litchfield area along the Western Kentucky Parkway. You're going to be able to see how heavy the rain is falling and the lightning with that storm. Again, not a ton of traffic in that area, obviously. He's just behind the main line of storms, but the heavy rain continues. So he's super close to the most powerful part of that storm, where there has been tremendous wind and the potential for some damage near the Caneyville area as that storm touched down, with emergency management reporting some tornado on the ground. And we're curious to see if there's damage. We'll come back to the radar view as we are in an area where we have sort of rough cell service. So we'll be checking in and out of Corey's feed as well. 2 tornado warnings in Kentucky. One continues southern Indiana. I'm going to give you the update on that. All of those are encompassed with a much wider and larger, severe thunderstorm warning, and you can see that. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning and the tornado warning farther to the north includes parts of Washington County, Indiana. I'll show you why that tornado warning continues, and there is still reason to believe that that storm is rotating, both noted on radar, not far from the Rosebud, Oregon Spring area. And that's going to continue moving off to the northeast. That will be moving up toward the Becks Mill area and Pierce. Again, that storm is moving east at 55 miles per hour. So that's the storm that we continue to track moving off to the north and east. Let's go farther to the south. Again, anywhere along that, I should point out while we're here, let me just point out, while that area shows the sign of greatest rotation, anywhere along this line, especially where it may be bowing out, say Whiskey Run, that's northern and northeastern parts of Crawford County, that is an area where we see some very strong wind as well.
Let's go to the storm near Rough River Lake, right on the Grayson-Breckinridge County line. We've been watching this for several radar scans as well. We've got a very strong rotation signature developing. Let me go to regular radar, and you'll kind of see this hook basically a bunch of rain wrapping around the rotation or wrapping around the storm. That's where we're seeing that rotation intensify just a little bit. Now, this is right on the edge of the current tornado warning. But those of you that live near Rough River, go ahead and just stay in your safe place for a little while longer, because this rotation has ramped up just a little bit here over the last couple of radar scans. This will be moving out of northern Grayson and southeastern Breckinridge County into Hardin County over the next few minutes. So Eastview, Franklin Crossroads, those areas west of E-Town continue to be on guard for a possible tornado here over the next 20 to 25 minutes, Kevin. Haven't had, for what it's worth, any damage reports come in yet from that touchdown earlier in Caneyville.
Yeah, good news there, and we're almost to that. I see Corey's feed, so no damage off of the Western Kentucky Parkway yet, but we'll get close. These are some storm reports that we've had earlier. You're going to notice some of those trees down out toward the Evansville area, up toward Bedford, Indiana. We also had some strong winds that were reported earlier. Those were 53 miles per hour. Looking over toward the Evansville area, 64 miles per hour. That's where we also saw in that general area moving into Du Bois County, where we had power poles that were snapped and on fire earlier. So we certainly have had some damage. The radar shows that line of storms continuing. Let me take off the warnings again, noting that we have severe thunderstorm or tornado warnings for a good chunk of our viewing area west of I-65. 3 tornado warnings, 1 in Indiana, the 2 that we're watching farther to the south, now across parts of Butler, Edmondson, moving into our area. That would be Grayson County. That's knocking on the county of Hart, moving toward the Munfordville area. So we're watching those closely. I'm going to go down the line. Let's start in southern Indiana. Some folks are in the clear at this point. Places like Bedford and Paoli, good to go to bed. Still rain, probably still some lightning. Just out to our east from there, we'd see that line of storms now approaching the Seymour area, technically not under any warning. Farther to the south in Washington County, Indiana, that's Salem. You're going to notice that we have the warning out for Salem as a tornado warning, but that's encompassed by a larger severe thunderstorm warning that goes from the county line over into Scott County.
New
and back
tornado
down.
warning for Breckinridge, Bullitt, Grayson, Hardin for that rotation we were talking about near Rough River just a moment ago.
And this is a fairly large tornado warning, covers a decent number of counties. Edmondson, Hart, Hardin, that's the one just south of it. So let me cue that one up. That comes right into Bullitt County. And there you see it. So that's Breckinridge, Bullitt, Hardin, and Meade. That includes Flaherty, Vine Grove, Radcliffe. Again, a lot of lead time on this. That's until midnight. So just over a half an hour through that warning. So they're moving at a very fast pace. Let me get you the details on the sort of movement of this storm. It's moving off to the northeast at 50 miles an hour. That storm, again, radar indicated, but has had a history of producing damage. We know that. It is the same storm where the Grayson County emergency manager reported that the tornado was on the ground. So this is getting so close to the metro area, western Bullitt County, higher populations coming in. Obviously, that's something that deserves attention. And let's just zoom in a little closer, because I want to show you what the velocity shows on this. And as we look to where that center of that storm is, you can see it's near center view, and I'll put on the relative velocity, and you can see exactly why the Weather Service continued that warning and sort of extended that farther to the north and east. It really is in this area here. It will move toward Pierce Mill, and as we track that up, it's going to go just south of Four Corners. Rineyville would be right in the target of that storm as it continues to move. So our folks in far western parts of Hardin County should be in your tornado safe place.
I'm checking correlation coefficient. That's the fancy radar term for debris tracker. I don't see anything yet with that particular rotation. Let's talk about who's in and who's out of this tornado warning. If you're in E-Town, you've got 2 tornado warnings nearby. Go ahead and go to your safe place if you live in E-Town. This is still, for now, mainly a western Hardin County issue. So Radcliffe, Kevin mentioned Rineyville, Vine Grove, Four Corners, Franklin Crossroads. You are now under this tornado warning that goes until midnight tonight. And again, these tornado warnings are rather large tonight because these storms are moving so quickly. This tornado warning in particular is for a storm that's moving northeast at 50 miles per hour, Ryan.
Yeah, one quick update here. We have posted on, of course, the Wave Weather Facebook page a call for your photos and videos. If you can safely, after the storm has passed, get out and see if there's any damage on your property. Take some pictures and comment. That would be great. We've got Travis here from near Litchfield in Grayson County there, and he showed us some lightning a little earlier. We also just had some pea-sized hail in Leavenworth, Indiana, and of course we're continuing to monitor so many different feeds of information here for damage, and of course the radar as well. So our whole team's assembled. Everybody's working on a different part of this to bring you a holistic angle of coverage here, guys, so that we can make sure that everybody is being served. This is a long line of storms. It's moving very quickly. A lot of folks are going to be impacted. If you were in Louisville, the storms are still to our west, but they're going to be moving in before the hour is out, most likely, guys.
All right, let's see if we can go to Brian Good. I know he's got some action nearby where he is. We've got the radar up clearly here. We're watching the rotation to our south. Brian, sirens were sounding?
Yeah, exactly, because I'm in southern Jefferson right here along Preston Highway near Menards, the Wawa area. Bullitt County line just down the road here. I don't know if you can hear the distance, but the sirens are going off. They're into Bullitt County. Of course, it's mainly the southern part. That right now we're tracking that cell that's moving in, but obviously the entire county goes off at once. The light rain's here into southern Jefferson, but as that surge moves up, that's still the problem area that we're watching. And the other area too, Kevin, I noticed the radar trend is across Meade County, straight line wind concern there, really pushing in to Meade. That's going to be a bigger concern too for the Louisville metro as that continues to accelerate, especially between PRP all the way to downtown Louisville, looks like.
All right.
We'll be mobile, by the way, here in a few minutes because we got to be in our safe spot too as the storms arrive.
All right, Brian, thank you. Appreciate that. You could hear those sirens to the south coming into southern parts of Bullitt County, and just giving folks a large heads up saying, hey, these storms are approaching. They're moving super fast, so the warning's coming out very early. You pay attention to the warning. Get to your tornado safe place. I suspect we will see some damage at some point across the area. We went from nearly no tornado warnings to now we have several lined up along that entire line moving in. I'll declutter the radar view for us just a bit. You can see the tornado watch is in place until 3 a.m., but we have warnings out now across southern Indiana, Washington County, tornado warning. Tornado warnings in Kentucky, across a good chunk of northern Hardin and southwestern Hardin County, and almost all of the Grayson County area.
Roof off a barn in Grayson County. This is going to be Beaver Dam Road, by the way.
So that's an area that we're obviously not far from Caneyville, where we have had some damage reported. Again, we had the report from the emergency manager that we had a tornado that was on the ground. We saw debris from the radar, and we continue to track that. So I'm doing a general look at what's happening with the radar and the tornado warnings. Carson has a much more refined zoom-in view of the velocities that are going on in those storms to the south. And boy, when they tighten up, Carson, that's where we're starting to continue to see more and more reports come out. Sometimes it takes a few minutes for them to get to us, but there's no doubt we're seeing wind damage across the viewing area tonight.
Right as you say that, Kevin, Grayson County, Kentucky Mesonet Station, 62-mile-an-hour winds. That's straight line winds, but that is severe winds. I tell you what, let's go really quickly to the tornado warning in southern Indiana for Washington County. That rotation has pretty much faded away at this point. The Weather Service going to watch it one more time just to make sure they can drop that warning safely, but we're not seeing a ton of rotation now in Washington County. All the focus is across Kentucky. We've got one tornado potentially moving into western Hardin County right now, and there are two other tornado warnings further to the south, stretching through Litchfield, down towards Edmondson County, near Beaver Dam, Brownsville, into Warren County, north of Bowling Green. This does not include downtown Bowling Green. This does not include the WKU campus. This is north of there in northern Warren County. And we're continuing to get reports of damage, 60-plus mile-per-hour wind gusts, Kevin, and reports of maybe additional tornado touchdowns in Grayson County earlier.
Yeah, we should really make sure folks know where we're looking at here, and this is western Hardin County. If you're in Vertrees, if you're in Howe Valley, you've got to be in your tornado safe place. This is where we have the potential for some very strong winds. That's moving through and toward Four Corners. That's going to approach maybe just north of Rineyville, but super close. So that general area where you see that brighter blue, that is the punch of of wind that we're watching. So it really is this general vicinity that's right along and north of 920.
Kevin, we may have a debris signature showing
that
up
area?
with that storm.
Yeah.
Yes. If we could take Max 2 full briefly, I'll show you where this debris is being spotted in western Hardin County. This is just north of Highway 86 between Dyer and Vertrees. If you're in Four Corners, you need to be in your safe place now. If you're in Rineyville, if you're up towards, let's see, Longview, Radcliffe, we apparently do have a tornado on the ground, or at least there's debris being lofted from what could be a tornado there in western Hardin County, right north of Highway 86, Kevin.
I'm going to keep tracking that. Carson, if you'll put a street by street on that, we will get back to you in a second so we can, get really the locations as we can. I know on that, when Carson was pointing out, this is velocity. So I want everybody to understand what we're looking at. This is where we see the rotation. That's what I was talking about. It was just north of Howe Valley, just north of 920. So keep that area in mind. I'm going to take that off. And now I'm going to bring on our what we call debris detector, the correlation coefficient. What we're looking at is abnormalities that would not fit in. What is that? Well, it's this area right here. And that's the area that you can see. So that's where we find something that's been lofted into the atmosphere that comes back to the radar and says, hey, wait a minute, this is not the same density or size as the raindrops that are falling around it. So it must be something else. And oftentimes that something else is debris. And so that's what Carson was pointing out when he said we may have debris on the radar.
Let's highlight a few of those roads. We're doing street level tracking with this possible tornado. If we could take me full, I'll show you those roads in a closer view. If you're near Turkey Roost Lane, Long Hollow Road, St. John Road, Salt River Road, this is Highway 920. There's Four Corners. This is Salt River Road. Again, this is just north of Highway 86 and just west of Highway 920. So Turkey Roost Lane, St. John Road, Long Hollow Road, Salt River Road. Again, if you live in Four Corners, if you live along 920, also if you live along Highway 220 near Four Corners in western Hardin County, it appears we have had, at least briefly, a tornado touchdown based on that debris signature that Kevin was just showing you. And this rotation is still rather strong, and it's racing quickly to the north and east around 50 to 55 miles per hour. So again, Four Corners, Rineyville, Radcliffe. It's going to be close. E-Town, I still want you to be in your safe place, but at least for now, this may clip the northern portions of E-Town. It's going to be a close call over the next 15 to 20 minutes, Kevin.
Yeah, no question. Obviously, we're seeing it on the radar, both in terms of velocity, the correlation coefficient, or the debris tracker. The reflectivity, not as impressive. It's tough to pick out, but you can still see the swirl there. But it's sort of in a mess along that line, and that's what makes these tough. So we're dealing with two tough things. One, first of all, it's late at night, so a lot of folks are asleep. If you have people in western Hardin County, wake them up. They've got to know that there's a potential for tornado moving in. That would be near Four Corners, moving toward Rineyville, Radcliffe. Just get them up. Make sure they know that this storm is coming in their direction, and it has potential to be on the ground. I think that's notable by what we're looking at on the radar. We haven't confirmed it yet, but you have to realize it's 11:30 at night. There's not a lot of people out in that part of Hardin County being like, yeah, there it is. No, it might be hitting farmland. It could be hitting something that people don't know, and some people may not know until the sun comes up tomorrow. Bottom line is we're seeing it on the radar, so it's worth a call just in case. Ryan, let me just check in with you. What do you have?
Yeah, at this point, I just wanted to kind of break down where we're at with all of these warnings. I know we are throwing a lot of information at you here. To make it a little bit simpler, we've got a list of all the warnings that we're covering right now, our big board, if you will. The latest these go right now is until midnight. That's about 27 minutes from now, but you'll see we're dealing with at least 4 different tornado warnings here, from Clark to Orange, Washington, Grayson, Hart, Hardin, of course, Breckenridge, Bullock, Hardin, Meade, and Nelson, all involved with that there. You'll notice some severe thunderstorm warnings in there as well. Look, we've got strong winds regardless of what kind of warning you're under. The problem is within these tornado warnings, you've got the potential to see a small area of concern where a tornado could get on the ground. We've had 2 instances tonight where we've seen tornado debris on radar, most likely. Can't completely confirm it, but kind of a smoking gun type of scenario there. We'll continue to monitor the radar for those minute-by-minute updates, guys. Sometimes we'll see the debris, but not so much the rotation in some of these storms. That makes it really challenging, but it's good that we have both products to be able to analyze here with this.
Very quickly, I want to go to Grayson County, eastern Grayson County. There is another hook, another notch that's trying to develop. Kevin, you got it zoomed in right there. This is near the Fragrant community. Is that Millerstown? Yes. So there's some rotation trying to develop there in eastern Grayson County. This would move into northern Hart County near Bonneville, possibly if it holds together up towards Upton and Sonora. They're along I-65 in southern Hardin County. So we're watching that area, which is under a tornado warning as well, Kev.
Yeah, so again, along that line, we see these kinks, these wiggles, squiggles, call them what you want. Bottom line is it's enough as it's interacting with the low-level jet stream that's really cranking up to pull that down to the surface, and we're seeing this rotate clearly. When I just get all 3 of the tornado warnings in place, let me go to the latest severe thunderstorm warning, and then we'll come back.
Jackson
this is
and
going
Jennings.
to be moving through our northern part of the viewing area, so Jackson and Jennings County. So now we're stretched from all the way from our northern communities to the south. Back to the tornado warnings we go, and then we'll come back to the radar view. But you're going to notice when I put the velocity on, we can clearly see the ones with greatest rotation. So let me just mark them for you. All 3 of the tornado warnings have some rotation. We see it just past Bonneville. We see it moving just toward Millerstown, and obviously we have the one that's across parts of Hardin County, and that's the strongest one. So I'll take those off. Those are the areas of most concern. Is there wind in all of the severe thunderstorm warnings? Absolutely. Can that down trees? You bet. We've seen it. We've seen it today without the thunderstorms. I mean, we have 59-mile-an-hour winds with no storms today. So looking at what we have on the radar, we now are showing some rotation, and that bears witness to what we've seen on the correlation coefficient. So it's just a matter of now sampling time and again of where we may have debris. The good news is, and these will lift, and that doesn't mean they can't touch back down. So what we've noted is it spins up. We see the rotation by velocity. We may even get a quick touchdown where dust or possibly debris is lofted into the sky. That comes back. We see it, but then it's gone. And that's what we're looking at here. The correlation coefficient, or the debris detector, no longer really showing where we may have had the debris showing up before.
A lot of folks probably asking here in Louisville, what about us?
Yes.
What about the metro? We are keeping a close eye on a severe thunderstorm warning that is just west of the city. That includes parts of Floyd County, Clark, Washington, Harrison, and Meade counties. Nothing screams tornadic activity. Nothing screams rotation just yet. But heads up, Louisville Metro, that line of severe storms you see between Palmyra, Indiana, and Brandenburg is moving due east at about 50 miles per hour. So that'll be knocking on the door of West Louisville, I'd say, as we get closer to midnight, maybe just after midnight. That could be very much a wall of 50 to maybe 60 mile per hour winds here in the metro within the next 20 to 30 minutes, Kevin.
Yeah, I'd grab the flashlight. If you have candles and need those, fine. There are going to be some power outages. We'll check with Ryan here in a minute. I know he's keeping an eye on some of the outages and damages that we're seeing. There have been a number of areas along this line that have seen areas of wind damage. So intense, they've broken power poles. So that's been a pretty wild scene when you have winds, just regular winds, straight line winds, strong enough to break a power pole, catch it on fire and take it down. That becomes impressive. Clearly, we're watching the tornado warnings, but I've said all along, for a storm system like today, we can't just be focused on the tornado warnings, because the straight line wind damage in this scenario sometimes can be just as bad or worse. So at this point, we haven't received any reports of damage that would have indicated anything more than the traditional 60-mile-per-hour winds in a severe thunderstorm warning. Sometimes we can get as high as 70 or 80 miles an hour. We haven't seen that we know of in our viewing area since we saw those power lines or power poles taken down in Du Bois County. So along this line, yes, there are a number of severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings. Let me go through the timing of those with you. So I'm going to turn that back on for us, and we'll go to our northernmost county. That's going to take you up toward the Seymour area under a severe thunderstorm warning, along with parts of Jennings County. So this is Jennings County, radar indicated tornado possible, 60-mile-an-hour winds. That warning until 12:15. We go down the line. We see Washington County, Indiana. So this is a very large severe thunderstorm warning. This is for Crawford, Floyd, and just parts of these counties. So parts of Crawford, Floyd, Scott, Washington. Radar indicated tornado possible, 60-mile-per-hour. Very strong wave of wind coming in. We can pick out pockets of heavy wind in some of these. So perhaps we'll come through those and show you where we have some of the stronger winds blowing. Scottsburg, you're edging in on some of that stronger wind coming your way. Expect new warnings to come out as this crosses over I-65. So if you're east of I-65, no warnings just yet, but that will change. Back to the radar we go, where I promised to go through the warnings. So we'll scroll down. And you're going to notice this warning for parts of Breckenridge, Crawford, Harrison, and Meade counties. That's until midnight. Again, tornado possible. We push farther south. You get the tornado warning for parts of Bullitt, Hardin, Meade, and Nelson. Again, this is until midnight. This includes Flaherty, Radcliffe, still in the line. Let's zoom in. You can see that bowing nature of that storm. That's indicative of some very strong winds going across northern parts of Hardin County.
Speaking of, Kevin, just got a report, Hardin County Mesonet, 69-mile-an-hour wind gusts confirmed at the Mesonet station in near E-Town in Hardin County.
Yeah, this is crazy winds right here. I mean, this is going to do damage. You got to be in your tornado safe place. Flaherty moving toward Diaz Acres, toward the Radcliffe area. If we were to continue tracking this, guys, that would bring it into parts of western Bullitt County, perhaps even into Jefferson County.
Pitts Point, Lebanon Junction, you are under the tornado warning. Shepherdsville, Mount Washington, Hillview, be on standby. If that wind signature holds, which now is confirmed, produced nearly 70-mile-per-hour winds, I would not be surprised. We would not be surprised at all if that tornado warning does get extended here in just a few minutes, Ryan.
In from our newsroom here, Hardin County Dispatch says they haven't gotten calls of damage in the Vertrees area just yet, but believes they will eventually. They are swamped right now. We do have a report of some small branches down in Vine Grove, Kentucky. 3.2% of Grayson County now without power via wavy alerts here. Just got that information into us there, and there it is, just popped into our graphic system too. 578 folks without power. Those are customers without power right now. And I also wanted to give a heads up to folks up in Lawrence County, Indiana. You folks have a pretty major power outage. 3,000 people, 3,000 customers. 9% of Lawrence County, Indiana now without power. And a final one I'll take you to, because it's new, is Perry County, and right now 27 customers there without power. So we're continuing to look for damage reports. If you have photos of damage and can do so safely, post them to the text, the big old red text box I just posted on the Wave Weather Facebook page, asking for your damage photos so that we can get those on the air for you there, Kev.
Yeah, do that only when it's safe. The Wave Storm Tracker is out. I want to show you what that looks like from that vehicle coming down across parts of Meade County. Meredith Lee's on board there. I'll just ask for a quick report, Meredith. I see the lightning, the wind. It's obviously increased. I'm not sure if Meredith can hear us.
Seeing very heavy.
Meredith can hear us.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, great. We are definitely seeing some heavy precipitation here. We had to stop briefly on the side of the road because we were unable to actually see what was in front of us. Again, this very heavy rain, strong winds, we're able to feel it from inside the vehicle. And of course, this lightning as we're heading south, it's pretty much constant at this point. Let me see if I can adjust the angle here so we can get a better view of the sky. But yeah, it is not looking good down here, Kevin.
Well, we'll keep up in touch with you, Meredith. I know we could have some damage along this path, so you're safely behind that storm down in Hardin County. We have a new tornado warning that's been issued for Hardin, Hart, LaRue, and Nelson, and we want to make sure that those folks are in their tornado safe place. It is a 12:30 expiration time on that. It's a continuation of that storm we have been watching, but again, that will take that through the Elizabethtown area, Hodgenville, Bardstown, all in that tornado warning. Of course, we still have the one to the north of that as well. That's along that line that we've been tracking. I'll put the velocities back on so you can see it. Again, it's a wall of wind. This is, it's not just one particular isolated tornado that we're tracking. You can see that a little clearer in the one to the north, the one that's going on across parts of southern Meade and northern Hardin County. But the one that's being extended to the south, that's just a wall of very strong wind with embedded areas of rotation.
So I just pinged.
Now, this is coming out.
Yes.
They're issuing a destructive tour possible for Jefferson County because of that storm coming up through the Radcliffe area. So this is going to be impressive.
I just sampled that wind core near Radcliffe, just above our heads in Radcliffe, 93-mile-per-hour winds. That's why this destructive severe thunderstorm warning is coming out for the metro.
Yeah, you're getting all the
phones are going to start going off. We recommend in Jefferson County, we want you now to treat this as a tornado warning for destructive straight-line winds of 80 miles per hour. This warning goes until 12:15 tonight, Kev.
So, again, it's a severe thunderstorm warning, the tornado possible, but the wind threat continues to increase. This just goes to show you don't have to have the rotation to have massive winds moving in. Again, here we are at a quarter till midnight. Alarms are going off. People are probably wondering what's happening. We knew this was going to happen. It's why we're all in place. We're walking you through this. All you have to do is your part. And right now, if you're in southwest Jefferson County in particular, you need to be in your tornado safe place. The warning is out. You still have some time. Get away from windows, the lowest level. Why is the warning out? Let me walk through that, because we are tracking this storm that we have been tracking for some time. This is where we have the rotation. You can clearly see it on radar. We're going to lose a little bit of its integrity as it goes across the radar. But at this point, we have potential for 70, 80 mile an hour winds, not everywhere, but within this one particular area that we're tracking. And that's going to move very close to the Radcliffe region. That's going to continue lifting toward West Point. Shepherdsville could go as close as Okolona if it holds together moving into Jefferson County. That's possible. All right. Some of this is being kicked out. It's moving very fast. This storm in particular that's moving across and toward Jefferson County, by the way, this is moving off to the northeast at 65 miles an hour. So it is booking it. It's hauling. And this is a destructive storm for Fort Knox and Metro Louisville. This has the potential to produce very strong destructive winds, not just damaging winds. Not everywhere, but in places. So at this point, we'll, again, follow this storm back toward Jefferson County. The storm tracker should be making its way behind this storm in case there is damage to report. But I suspect we're going to see that potential really ramp up over the course of the next 15 to 20 minutes. That warning is in place until 12:15. New warnings coming out, again, surrounding the area. This is farther to the south. This takes us closer to the Tennessee border, but comes up into parts of Hart County. So we'll watch that one, but we're obviously more concerned with what's happening here in the metro, where we have great population. Now, we have the 2 tornado warnings as well. This begs what we've talked about all day. Are those tornado warnings more impressive than the severe thunderstorm coming into Louisville? No, they're not. In fact, they should all be weighed equally. And sometimes we run the risk of, in a tornado warning, we know what to do. Our mind's like, oh, I've got to get in the basement, tornado safe place. Severe thunderstorm warning, you're like, it's just a severe thunderstorm warning. That's no big deal. Not the case always. All of these are on the same threshold of severity. We have the potential for very strong, damaging, or even destructive winds with either the tornado warning or the severe thunderstorm warning for Jefferson County. So please, do your part. Lowest level, away from windows. We're watching this as it moves closer to us. Let me put the radar back up. And, guys, if you have something, jump in.
Real quick, Kevin, further to the south, we are still watching those tornado warnings for Hardin, LaRue, Nelson, and parts of Marion and Washington counties in Kentucky. There is still some broad rotation right over Sonora, near that Sonora exit, near the new battery plants along I-65. Rotation broad. I don't see anything that screams a tornado immediately touching down. down, but you still need to be in your safe place, like Kevin was just talking about. This is not one of those nights where you can kind of relax if there's just a severe thunderstorm warning. Not at all. These are destructive, potentially, winds moving into the Louisville metro. 80-mile-per-hour winds, it doesn't matter if they're in a straight line or if they're twisting with a tornado. They will still cause damage if you see those kind of wind gusts. But nonetheless, we are still watching for any rotations that try to intensify in parts of Hardin County, LaRue County, Hart County, Nelson, Marion, Washington, and Bullitt counties. All of those counties, or parts of them, still under tornado warnings right now, Kev.
And that's for 80-mile-per-hour wind potential.
Right.
And that's a big deal. So where do you go, Ryan?
Yeah, you go into your tornado safe place, and where is that? A basement or storm shelter is the most optimal place. Underground is fantastic. Look, I know some folks live in apartment buildings, condos, maybe you have a crawl space. You don't have that luxury. Where you need to go is the bottom center of your apartment, condo. If you know somebody downstairs on the first floor, get in there. Maybe there's a clubhouse or something that's open. Get in there, too. That would be the bottom level of a building, center of the building if you can. That's like an interior hallway or bathroom away from doors and windows. And this is even if you're not in a tornado warning. Again, this is Louisville. We're talking about 80-mile-per-hour destructive winds possible. I've just sent a custom push notification to the entire city and some of the surrounding counties saying, hey, it's time to treat this like we got a tornado warning for Louisville, because as we said, it doesn't matter if they're twisting winds. 80 miles per hour is 80 miles per hour. That's an EF0 tornado in intensity, so we got to treat it like that's what's going to happen. There may very well be some roof damage, siding damage. Garbage cans could be in your neighbor's yard. This is not a safe thing to have going on with you outside in it. So you want to be indoors, away from doors and windows, center of your building. That's a condo, that's apartment building, your house. If you're in a mobile home, evacuate, get to a safer location, Kevin.
New severe thunderstorm warning coming out for parts of southern Indiana, and let me square that one up. You can see the tornado possible destructive winds. That tag is for the Louisville storm. Let's bring it up just one storm, and you're going to notice parts of southern Indiana, Clark, Floyd, Harrison, Jefferson, tornado possible. Wind speed 60 miles per hour, so not as strong. It doesn't have that couplet that we've been watching. The difference is great in those. I mean, one can cause some damage, the other one can cause destructive damage, so sort of the wording on that takes care of itself. We'll put the velocities back up. That storm that's the strongest to our south is pretty much approaching the radar at this point, so right across the Muldraugh area. That's going to continue lifting off to the north and east. It's moving at 65 miles an hour, so that would put it in Valley Station momentarily. You don't have a lot of time if you're in southwest Jefferson County. We'll be waiting to see if we have any reports coming from southwest Jefferson County as this storm moves in. It's right now moving out of Meade County, northern tip of Hardin County. It will clip parts of Bullitt County and then into southwest Jefferson County. Possibly 80-mile-per-hour winds moving into southwest Jefferson County.
I've got it zoomed in on Max 2 street level where the worst of these damaging winds are in northern Hardin County at this point. So this is going to be right along Highway 31W, Dixie Highway. This is very close to Fort Knox. Bullion Boulevard, let's say up towards, I tell you what, this is really right over Fort Knox itself at the moment. This is where we're going to have that core potentially 70 to 80 mile an hour winds. That's why the destructive severe thunderstorm warning is in place. This pocket of wind right here, that bright blue, that's what's tracking north and east, and that's the reason why we have that destructive severe thunderstorm warning for Louisville. So again, if you live in western Bullitt County, west of Shepherdsville, along Highway 44, near West Point, Valley Station, Okolona, Fairdale, PRP, get to your tornado safe place now. Treat this as if it is a tornado warning for the southern Louisville metro, Kev.
Sometimes this late at night, it's hard to get real-time reports. A lot of folks are not out. They're in bed. We're asking you just wake people up. If you've got people in any of these warnings, we're not on for the fun of it. This just is serious business. You've got to make sure that they can get the warnings. I've zoomed my radar down to the south where we have the tornado warnings for parts of Hart County, a good chunk of LaRue County, southern half of Hardin County over into Nelson County, includes western Marion County. Again, not a well-defined couplet that we would look for a tornado warning, but again, a wall where we could have, and we're hearing the thunder downtown shaking the building. So we do have thunderstorms approaching, and you saw they're still a ways away. It's the indication of how powerful they're going to be as they move in. But you can see along this line, there would be the potential for some individual squiggles. So they've issued the tornado warning for that area, but that is a good push push of wind through there. So places like Hodgenville and Magnolia, you're seeing some very strong wind in your area as well as this approaches Buffalo, Leafdale, Mount Sherman, eventually over toward Gleanings and Roanoke. That's going to push in with a wall of wind for you. So that's to our south. Let's lift it back up. The one moving out of this is now moving into western parts of Bullitt County. That is weakened, but it is still putting down the potential. Again, very similar situation where it's almost like a wall, or you see that where there are wiggles along it, and that's where we have the potential for the possibility of a tornado. Farther to the north, this is the storm that, again, shows perhaps in some ways the greatest concern. It certainly has the largest wind potential.
And it's right on top of the radar there at Fort Knox. So
and that's it.
It may not look that impressive right now, but that's because the strongest core of wind is literally on top of the radar at Fort Knox as we speak.
Hey, I want to flag something real quick here. 3,100 customers, Grayson County. That's 17% of Grayson County now without power just into us here, Kev.
Wow. So that's, again, all of these storms have that potential to knock out power. I suspect, and it's why we've been saying throughout the evening, grab the flashlight. You might need it. Once this pulls away from the radar, we'll start to see how strong that couplet is and whether we can downgrade this warning or whether it needs to stay the same, which comes with that and you see the warning updating there. So let's just get a quick check of that. And it'll pop on the screen for us.
They've downgraded it to 70 miles per hour.
That's considerable.
Correct. So it's still dangerous, but maybe we see 70-mile-an-hour winds instead of 80 as these storms move into the South Metro.
All right, so again, that storm over the radar coming into southwest Jefferson County, possible 70-mile-per-hour winds, slight downgrade from the last warning, which encompassed that, which was 80. That would have been the strongest one we had of the day. Of course, the tornado warnings continue just to our south. We only have the lone one, and the two tornado warnings until 12:30, so another half hour, 35 minutes on that. And again, we can still see that as this thunderstorm moves toward Bullitt, Nelson, all the way down through Hardin and up to Jefferson, that's the core of the wind that we're dealing with. I'm going to take the warnings off so it doesn't clutter the screen. When we have so many warnings coming out, sometimes it's tough to see them visually on your screen as well. Let me, in fact, for a moment, just take off the reflectivity that you're looking at, so you can see the warnings. Obviously, the watch has been in place until 3 a.m., but you can see areas to our west already out of that watch. When I zoom this out, we're not the only one dealing with severe weather. It goes from the Great Lakes all the way to the Gulf. So this is a massive cold front. It's going to take our temperature down 30-some degrees by tomorrow. As we zoom into the area, a number of folks along the I-65 corridor are under some type of warning, severe thunderstorm or tornado. I'll put the radar back on. Back to the velocity we go. That gives us a better indication of where we have the strongest push of wind and the strongest rotation going on. So I'll take the warnings down for just a second.
Just got a report of a tree across the road on Highway 86 in Hardin County. I believe that's where we had that debris signature about 20 minutes ago. So tree down across Highway 86 in Hardin County, Kev.
All right. So damage is not uncommon. Situations like this, I think it's going to be sporadic. Not everybody sees the damage. However, as it continues to pass by, the big question will become, what about to our south? Do these tornado warnings get extended, or do they get replaced with severe thunderstorm warnings? I'm going to guess on that one, possibly severe thunderstorm may take over, and that would extend into parts of Spencer County. Grayson County coming in with more updates on damage, I see, and I know we have 9 trees down. Those were the calls that were coming in. We also have had 3 calls about lines down, and 2 that have lines on fire. 4,300 customers without power from the Warren RECC. They're still surveying the damage.
Rotation trying to pick up near Hodgenville in LaRue County with that far southern tornado warning.
It's so muddy. It's tough to see on that.
It's very muddy. So,
but you can see the notch.
Right. And again, even if there's not a tornado spinning up, this is still a wall of 60-mile-per-hour winds potentially rolling through eastern Hardin County, LaRue County, Nelson County. Time to get in your safe place. Bardstown, New Haven, western Marion County, western Washington County too. So we'll watch that little notch there, Kevin, down there in Hodgenville.
Yeah, and roof storm damage off in Big Clifty. I don't know if you mentioned that one.
I have not. That's new.
That was one that we have coming in from some of the fire personnel down there.
Roof off a house off Pierce Mill Road in Hardin County. That's just coming in from a ham radio operator.
And I'm seeing damage as moving out of Caneyville toward Litchfield, which was that would have been the storm a while back.
37-mile-per-hour gust in Fairdale, by the way, as these storms close in on the metro.
57-mile-per-hour gust just went through E-Town about 3 minutes ago. So these storms, as we've talked about, are a true wall of wind with maybe some spin-up tornadoes from time to time.
That's the deal, and it's tough to pinpoint where that may or may not be on some of these. Clearly, we can kind of get an estimate of where we think the strongest wind is in them, but it's sort of everywhere has that potential. It's just a matter if it reaches you at the ground or if it stays just above you. These winds with a low-level jet are howling, so once they go above 90 miles an hour, it doesn't take but a light rain to bring them down. Obviously, we have more than a light rain, so in some spots, we're really bringing down these powerful winds to hit the surface, and that's when they do the damage, and we've seen that. You can see the tornado warnings that we have on the screen. I'm going to take the box off just so we don't clutter the screen. But again, tracking all of these along with the severe thunderstorm warning for Jefferson County, we now have some of the stronger winds moving into southwest Jefferson County from this storm. Brian Good would be in a really powerful wind spot. He's taking shelter, I'm sure, but that would be an area of strong wind. I don't know if his shot is up or not. Probably not without him.
Let's see, new warning coming down.
That's Bullitt, Jefferson, Nelson, Shelby, Spencer till 12:30. Tornado possible, 60-mile-per-hour winds.
So that's a little more planed out, but again, this is still labeled as tornado possible, 60-mile-per-hour winds, as Ryan mentioned, and that's going to continue moving toward Spencer County into southern Shelby County, as we mentioned.
While we have a moment, I want to list a few communities that are all clear because we're now at midnight. A lot of folks want to go to bed. Seymour, Bedford, Paoli, Jasper, Corydon, Brandenburg, Hardinsburg, Litchfield. Your severe weather threat is over. You may still be hearing some thunder, rain still coming down, but your severe weather threat in those towns is over. Well, this is going to be an issue now for along and east of I-65 for about another 2 hours.
You can see some of the wind coming across New Albany where those flags are whipping, a lot of lightning downtown. We're looking at our SkyTrack cameras. Some of those we will aim towards southern parts of Jefferson County. The SkyTrack camera probably from the Kentucky Kingdom would be the best, so we'll try to adjust those. Back to the radar we go with warnings here in the metro. We continue to track severe weather. Obviously, with what was happening today, we knew it could be rough. We knew that there was the potential for tornado warnings. We have the one lone tornado warning still on the map for Hardin, Hart, LaRue, and Nelson. That's until 12:30. Let me zoom into that, and then we'll come back to the metro. This storm is passing past E-Town. It's past Hodgenville. It has produced damage. We know that. Big Clifty was a place where we had some of that damage moving past the Hodgenville area. You can see some of the inflow into that storm. It's going to approach my hometown of New Haven. So if you're in New Haven, you should be in your tornado safe place. That's an area of concern right from Boston all the way down to Buffalo. This is going to move through New Haven, Glennings, and Bardstown eventually, Balltown. You're all going to be in the path of this storm as it moves off to the north and east. This storm, again, showing the greatest potential of rotation approaching and just south of Roanoke toward the New Haven area, and that is where we see again some of that rotation showing up. So if you're in Howardstown, Glennings, New Haven, this would be the area of greatest concern for rotation. Tornado safe place it is. That's where you should be at this point as that storm continues to move to the north and east. How fast is this storm moving? We can take a look. That one is going to be moving 65 miles an hour to the north and east. Back to the metro we go.
The wind signature does not look quite as intense, but it's still a wall of wind. It just may not be 80 miles an hour anymore moving into the city.
And that's some good news. We should start to see some of those initial reports from the airport as it ticks up. We have gauges that are out, 35 mile an hour on the last gust that we have. But again, you're right. It's looking better in terms of velocity and reflectivity for that wind. Pockets of wind coming through New Albany that we saw, likely 45 to 55. And some of those thunderstorms continue to generate wind. But what we would be looking for would be some of those brighter colors from PRP toward Okolona at this point. The good news is the strongest winds we have would be just south of that. So we'll watch this area here to see if that's likely the pocket of highest wind that we have.
So it's just now crossing into southwestern Jefferson County along Dixie Highway, south of the Snyder near Medora. This is close to the Jefferson Memorial Forest, Stone Street Road, National Turnpike, New Cut Road, Fairdale. This is where we're going to see the strongest punch of wind for the time being. And over the next 10, 15 minutes, that punch of wind will go further into the metro, closer to the airport, closer to perhaps the zoo, Iroquois Park, Churchill Downs. That's the general track of that highest pocket of wind at this point.
Yeah, and the Jefferson Forest located right there. So this, again, should approach the Gene Snyder as it works its way up toward Prairie Village. Heaviest wind staying just south of Valley Station and PRP at this point. Still pockets of heavy wind through the whole thing, but that is the area that the warning was really based on, would have been that area where we had those super strong winds. They have weakened, and that is some good news. Now, are they below severe limits? No, they're not. So the damage may not be as great as it could have been, but still has potential as it moves across southwest Jefferson County.
All of Hardin County is now clear from tornado warnings. They just updated that tornado warning to remove Hardin County. So if you're in Radcliffe, E-Town, Sonora, Upton, you are now clear of any severe weather for the night. And that's the good thing with this storm system, Kevin. It's one and done.
Boy, it's moving fast.
Hey, power flashes from just the wind, most likely, from the downtown HazCam that we've talked about in the past from high atop downtown Louisville. Our SkyTrack cameras are pointed strategically. The two top ones are pointed south, so if there's anything like that, we'll be able to see them on that 4-box grid that we've got up right now. In fact, you can see it right there. You can see how the cameras are shaking.
You're also going to notice a very sharp drop in temperature. We shouldn't ignore the fact that we're really going to slide back into winter time for a day or two here. As this front moves in, temperatures tank. We're going back into the teens by early Tuesday morning. So that just gives an idea of how strong this front is that's moving in. We're tracking the wind, again, easing, and this is the good news on the radar. So what we're tracking out of Mount Washington, where we had that 73-mile-per-hour wind, you'll notice we still have a little bowing feature on that moving across northern parts of Spencer County. And as this goes up toward the Simpsonville area, approaching Shelbyville, if it continues to weaken, those winds would not be as strong. So we may have seen their peak. The airport gusting to 44. There's a new update. And boy, the updates come in about as fast as we can talk. So you can see those storms approaching Simpsonville now. Our camera Simpsonville should be showing some of those very strong winds.
We're getting that up there now if we can do that. But I did want to mention, by the way, it's 45 degrees in Jasper right now, 60 in Louisville. This is a quick 15, 20-degree drop we're getting ready to experience here in very short order in Louisville. So get ready for it. It's going to be a shock to the system. And it looks like the Simpsonville camera is going to be up here shortly on the main camera here. If we can get that. There it is. Okay. It should be popping up here.
All right. We'll just take a quick look as that moves in, because those storms, I mean, really, and
there it is.
Let's see if we can take it. Can you put that in 3?
Let's see if we can do that there. All right, should be popping up in 3 here in just a second. There it is.
Yeah, so it's not impressive.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah, so we have, the rain. It is live. You can see the cars moving. All right, we'll come back to that if needed. Back to the radar we go. With the radar, obviously, we can see the velocity of this. And the 73-mile-an-hour winds, probably not an anomaly. I mean, we're seeing strong winds. These things sort of push up and down. They find their areas to feed off of. But severe thunderstorm warnings, new tornado warnings. Again, we've been tracking those. This tornado warning coming out. And you can see that for Franklin, Henry, Jefferson, Shelby. That's the one we've been watching. It's sort of just getting modified with that until 12:30. So that still includes the Shelbyville area. But the good news is that's the one we keep looking at back and forth between the velocities that shows some weakening. So windy, yes. Damaging winds, possible. Tornado, probably not as likely.
I think the further east these storms go, east of I-65, what little instability, what little cape we had is starting to wane. So as these storms keep pushing eastward tonight, they're still going to be windy. Do not get us wrong. It's just that we're hopeful the tornado threat will dwindle bit by bit as these storms continue to race to the east. But we still have those tornado warnings in effect for Shelby and Spencer County primarily. And then that further south tornado warning continues for parts of Nelson, Washington, and Marion counties as well.
And again, that's sort of that wall of wind. When
Right.
we look at the velocity on that, you can see the pockets of heavy wind moving into Washington County near Maud and Booker. That's going to go north of Springfield. I mean, when I zoom this out, you'll see Springfield's to the south. So this is going to be northern Washington County, northeast Nelson County. So Bloomfield would be in on this. So some strong winds right along the Bluegrass Parkway. In fact, the winds will cross the Bluegrass Parkway in northeast Nelson County on that.
Right over Bloomfield at the moment, right over Taylorsville and Spencer County.
And then let's work our way up and let's talk about the Spencer County.
Spencer County, let's see here. Not seeing much of a rotation signature at this point.
Yeah, it's that pocket of heavy wind over the
Right.
Taylorsville area.
Yeah, Taylorsville points north, the northern half of Spencer County, and of course, basically all of Shelby County. Still need to be in your tornado safe space with this warning in effect for another 8 minutes.
That's going to take it toward Little Mount, and then we get back up into the tornado warning, which again has sort of taken care of itself, still just windy. That's crossing over into Shelby near Finchville. So some good news for the folks in Shelbyville at this point. Your sirens are going off, but the signature on the radar a little bit better than it was, 30 minutes ago when we had those 73 mile an hour winds over Mount Washington. Now in Jefferson County, the strongest wind looks to be over the J-Town area, moving toward Hopewell. Zooming in, that's going to be near Fern Creek. That takes you over Chenoweth Run Road, moving toward Charlie Ventnor Park, over toward Odeheedy. That moves as you work your way towards South Pope Lick Road and Old Taylorsville Road. So Fisherville may be in for some of those stronger winds in Jefferson County. So as we zoom in and just give you some of that street level mapping. Folks in southern Indiana may be wondering, hey, what about us? There's not a lot happening there. We do have some strong winds. Jefferson County, Indiana. This would take you past Wakefield, moving towards Swanville. Madison would be next in line for some of these stronger winds. But again, some of those even below severe limits. So the greatest concentration of strong storms situated just off to the south and east of Louisville at this point.
The tornado warning for Nelson, Washington, and Marion will be allowed to expire at 12:30. They're going to keep the severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado possible tag, but the tornado warning, the red box, will be going away here in just a moment further south, Ryan.
And I do have a photo to share with you. This is from Grayson County, from April Spalding. They're probably from one of those security cameras that you can mount on the side of your house. Impressive lightning there. If you've got any storm damage photos and you can safely take and send these, post them to the red box of text that's at the top of the Wave Weather Facebook page. We can put them right here on the air and, of course, show them to you folks here at home. I have one more thing to share with you here. We just got this in from the National Weather Service. Basically, if you are not in the red here, you are no longer in a tornado watch. Everyone west of Louisville has been canceled out of the tornado watch. The severe weather threat has ended basically west of I-65 at this point, guys.
That's good news. Bardstown gusting to 63 miles an hour. So we had strong wind gusts there. So let's go through some of those top gusts. 73 has been the strongest. That was Mount Washington. 63 mile per hour winds. That was down in Bardstown.
Yes.
69 miles per hour near E-Town. That was, and then we had Du Bois at 45, 46 miles per hour there. Any others I'm forgetting?
There may have been one around 50 in Du Bois County earlier.
Okay.
It all runs together.
Yes, there's a lot of information.
There has been a lot of wind, as we expected, with these storms tonight. And, based on some of those debris signatures we had earlier, we could have very well had, if I can remember right, at least one, maybe two possible tornadoes earlier tonight.
I think we had at least 2 times that we said we had debris on radar there. Now, understand that a tornado in this type of situation is going to be very small in size. Doesn't mean it's not impactful, by the way, but it just means that we may not get a whole lot of information or photos of the damage from such a very small area, especially if it's like one barn here, maybe a roof off over here. That's going to take some time. That's why we haven't been able to show you a whole lot of damage photos tonight. It's just very isolated where those exact things are occurring. We got tons of pictures of trees down from earlier today, and we had those 60+ mile per hour winds here in Louisville. I mean, everybody and their brother saw that.
Still a good push of wind coming into Shelbyville, and that's rolling in now. That wind of 73 miles an hour went through Mount Washington. Brian Good's not far from there. Let's just kind of bring in him. I want to keep the radar up, but we'll bring his audio up and just chat with him for a second. Brian, how'd you fare?
Yeah, Kevin, we're on Barstow Road. If you can hear me, hopefully you can. We just left around the Okolona area. Lots of typical stuff like tree limbs, debris across the roadway, trash cans. It's going to be a mess, no doubt, when everyone heads out tomorrow morning compared to a lot of the side roads at the moment. We're heading toward Mount Wash, though, to see whether or not we see any reports of wind. Of course, the gust of 73 was estimated. We're going to see if there's any damage in that area, so we're pretty close to Floyd's Fork. Right now, we're about to head down to the big hill and head up to Mount Washington here. We can hear the sirens going off again. With that new tornado warning that came out, of course, they go off for all of Jefferson County. But at the moment, Kevin, just a lot of small debris, but it is pretty messy. So if you have to venture out for second, third shift type of setup tonight, you may be one of the first people to travel down some of these roads that have not had emergency personnel go down them. So please take it slow. We have seen LMPD go by, and they've been flashing their lights at traffic going down the road here to kind of give them a heads up that obviously damaging weather's in the area.
Oh, appreciate that report. When you get there, if you find anything, let us know. Bring it back in. We have had damage reports out of Floyd County. We know we have trees down, blocking the road, for instance, off of Keisler Road in Greenville. So that is one area. Clark County also reporting some damage. And you can see most of the warnings that we have are now being transferred to severe thunderstorm warnings with those TOR tags, which just means tornado possible within that warning, which essentially is what we've seen throughout the event here. But we have had a couple of instances where, boy, we really noticed that velocity cranked up, and that's why the tornado warnings were issued. But for now, you can see the current warnings. I overlay the velocities, and most of those have flattened out enough to just show strong wind, meaning straight line winds, as opposed to what we would know as that couplet that we often talk about. So we do have severe thunderstorm warnings that are still impressive, and I'll roll through those with you. This is the one farther to the north and east. This is, and it always goes to the tornado, so let me lift it enough. This is for Henry, Jefferson, and this barely clips. This is Jefferson County, Indiana. So this is Henry, Jefferson, Indiana, Oldham, and Trimble, and that again includes Buckner, LaGrange, and Madison. 60-mile-per-hour winds possible with that. The tornado warning that we talked about that goes until 12:30 has 2 more minutes. That's going to expire, and you see the severe thunderstorm warning that takes over for that. Let me see if I can query that. There it is. And that's going to be for Franklin, Henry, Scott, and Shelby. Tornado possible, 60-mile-per-hour winds. And that's going to be the general theme. Tornado possible, 60 to 70-mile-per-hour winds in that southern area that's moving out of our viewing area. The reason for that, you'll notice why, that always looking on the radar for sort of those backward seas. I'm going to square it up, zoom it in just a bit. And now let me put the pin on. It's really that area that shows great potential for strong wind. So if we were to have the 70-mile-per-hour winds, it would be moving through. We said this earlier. Right along the Bluegrass Parkway, close to Bloomfield, northeast Nelson County, northern parts of Washington County. So that's the area of strongest wind on that storm. And again, that tornado warning has less than a minute left on it. I suspect you're going to see that fall off the screen. But the considerable tag stays on the severe thunderstorm warning because of that bowing nature of that. So that would take it. So that would take it just outside of our viewing area, but going to push it over toward Ashbrook. And there we go, toward the Lawrenceburg area. So, as expected.
Highway 86 in western Hardin County seems to be a hot spot for damage. New report just came in, multiple power poles down on Highway 86 near the Vertrees Church Lane area.
All right. The storm tracker hopefully is hearing this and going there.
That was, I believe, where we had one of those debris signatures earlier tonight in western Hardin County. So we'll wait to see what kind of event, be it damaging
the storm
wind or
tracker
tornado.
is ready for a shot, by the way. They did see a little bit of damage just before we send them somewhere.
Okay. Do they have damage?
It says saw a basketball hoop knocked over trash cans, branches in the street.
Yeah,
We're ready
that's
for a
not
shot.
damage. Let's see if we can get them to the place where we have the power lines down. We're welcome to take their shot, but at this point, when we have 70-plus mile-per-hour winds, we're going to see a lot of trash cans, a lot of twigs blowing around. But the power lines down, the trees that are down, that's the area that really begs concern. And that was an area that really had the rotation and the correlation coefficient or the debris showing up on the radar. At this point, when we look at the radar, there's one place that stands out, and that's this area here. And we pointed that out a few minutes ago. Jefferson County, Indiana, moving through the Madison area, also showing a little bit of a bowing segment. So those are two areas, and we've got a little squiggle moving through parts of Shelby County. So along that line, we have three identifiable places that we would want to do further investigation on the radar. Let's do it. When we look at this, again, you can sort of see that backwards S in this case. That's a very common signature that we see. Powerful winds. How strong are the winds? Anybody?
60 to 70. Sorry, I was looking at
That's all
something
right.
else here.
Now it's just quiz time.
Yeah,
I'm just curious.
It's pop quiz time, it sounds like.
50 to 60 mile-per-hour winds reported with that out of Jefferson County, Indiana. So we have seen that. And now that continues to move toward Trimble County and Bedford. So that's the same zone that we're watching all the way down into Oldham County, passing by LaGrange. So that's sort of where the radar is centered up at this point. So that's one area on the radar that we were saying, hey, we need to watch that. Anywhere from Jefferson County, say south of Madison, moving through Trimble and Oldham. And then we get down into Shelby County. We see another strong signature showing up there. This is going to be one just east of Shelbyville. Again, 60-mile-per-hour winds possible with that storm as it moves toward Clay Village and up toward Christiansburg. Farther south we go, we get into that even larger site, semi-flipped over.
I was just about to say that. On 265 on the other side of the Lewis and Clark Bridge, left lane blocked.
All right, so again, I don't know if we have traffic cams over there. I know Ryan's probably working on pulling those up. So you see him working on the computers, trying to get us 265. That's the Lee Hamilton.
Yes.
Over on Clark County side. And they're just now en route to that. So that's going to be at the I-265. That's westbound.
Forgive me, Kevin, if you mentioned this. New severe thunderstorm warning for Carroll County until 1:15. And also new severe thunderstorm warnings for Green, Taylor, and Adair until 12:15 Central Time, 1:15 a.m. Local time here in the metro.
That gives us a good idea of when it's going to be out of here.
Exactly.
Because that's our farthest counties. And so
Right.
I'd say by, less than an hour left in this, and then we're sort of in recovery mode for whatever power outages may have been reported. Again, severe thunderstorm warnings, powerful winds. We do have damage that's been reported. Trees, power lines are down. We have that blocking roads, roofs off of homes, barns down, much of that in parts of Hardin County near Vertrees. And we were tracking that storm lifted as it makes its way up into northern Bullitt County, severe back to tornadic around Mount Washington, where we had 73-mile-an-hour winds. And the part of that storm is now continuing across Shelby County. It has weakened, but clearly we still have strong winds anywhere from Trimble County, soon to move into Carroll County, Oldham County moving into Henry County, Shelby County, soon to move into Franklin County, and then areas to our south, northeast Nelson's out of it, but parts of Spencer, parts of moving down into Washington County. And then as this arcs over, we see still parts of Marion, but we pick it up even more in southern Greene, southern Taylor, and Adair counties. So that'll be another push of wind moving across the southern part of the viewing area. Let me just give you a wider view, noting the watches and warnings that we have. Things are easing a bit. You'll notice that no longer do we have that sort of solid line of warnings from the Great Lakes all the way down to the Gulf Coast. It is a little more broken, but not a lot, especially in our area where we continue to see the wind. But the trend is there to continue seeing these gradually weaken. So we've reached our peak winds, we've brought some of them down to the surface, and now we're starting to see things improve slowly.
There's some rotation. It's not major at this point. The main issue is still just the wall of wind. But right where Shelby, Spencer, and Anderson counties all come together, there might be a little I guess it would be a bookend vortex based on the radar view that might be trying to spin something up. We'll just have to babysit it here the next little bit.
Yeah, those, this is the thing with the way it is along these lines, tough to pick out. That's the general area you're talking about.
Right.
Again, a strong push of wind just north of Shelbyville. You get those oranges, that's, 50, 60 plus mile per hour winds. But again, we like to see where we may see some of those curves or hooks into the storm, and that's where we could have some possible rotation beginning. So that would be an area of concern. And that's what Carson was pointing out. Farther to the south, again, we're looking at severe thunderstorm warnings. Some folks may be wondering, why are we still on the air? No tornado warnings. Listen, we're going to just keep it with weather coverage until we get these storms out of here late at night. We've already had damage. We're working to show you what some of the winds that we've had today have done. And we'll do that as we work our way closer to that damage, especially down into parts of Hardin County.
Briefly, Kevin, the tornado watch for the Louisville Metro is gone. So if you live in Louisville, you can go to sleep.
Yeah, things are really calming down from
Yes.
I-65 west. That includes Jefferson, Bullitt, LaRue, Scott County, and Indiana. Ryan?
Okay, found the semi tipped over there on 265. This is going to be westbound. This is in the left lane. This is near Cooper's Lane. This is a traffic camera that updates every 5 minutes or so from the Indiana Department of Transportation. You can see all the lights that are there. I'm not sure if emergency personnel are there just yet. It says they're en route here. If you're looking for a map of this, what we're going to do is show you the traffic map of the area. There it is, and you'll see it's up here just east of I-65. I might be able to advance it. There it goes, and you'll see that yellow right there, Cooper's Lane right there. This is just east of Cementville, where the semi is over. Potentially due to winds. We don't know that exactly, but if it smells
Most
like
likely.
a duck, that it probably is a duck, right? So again, that's east of 65 on 265. We have not heard about the extent of injuries or impacts from this just yet. Very preliminary information. We'll keep checking on it, guys.
All right. Thanks. Good work getting that on. And a big thanks to all the team that's working here, both in front of the cameras and behind, because we're really, you got storms moving at 75 miles an hour. There's a lot of stuff coming in. We're looking at the watches and the warnings that we have. I'm going to put the radar up. You can see that the bulk of the storms are just about to exit our viewing area. The exception will be off to our south, where we still have these ones moving across southern Greene, southern Taylor, and Adair counties. That one also 60 mile per hour winds possible. So let's just zoom in, give you some of the locations of some of this stronger wind. We're still, and we'll zoom back up into Jefferson County, Indiana here. And this is past Madison.
Add another 60-plus gust. Oldham County, the Mesonet about 15 minutes ago, 61
And
miles
do we
per
know
hour.
where, was that in LaGrange?
That was the Mesonet, which is near Westport.
Okay.
Up there in Oldham County.
Yes. Okay, so you see Madison, the heaviest wind past you, moving through Canaan, moving over toward Long Run. This will take us south of the river now. This is going to put you in parts of Carroll County, Carrollton. The wind's knocking on your door as we speak. This will take it past Eminence and moving across parts of Henry County. Looking at Oldham, again, you can see as we zoom in, the heaviest wind is past Oldham County. I'm just kind of zooming in to see anything behind that. Nothing. Pendleton, heavy rain moving out. Zooming back out for you. Let's go south. We're now into parts of Shelby County. Severe thunderstorm warning continues for Franklin, Henry, Scott, and Shelby's of Kentucky. Tornado still possible there, but the strongest wind is just about out of Shelby County. That's going to rake across northern parts of Franklin County. So Flag Fork, Harvey Land, and Peaks Mill will be in the path of this. Franklin County, Frankfort in Frankfort County, the state capital, going to see some wind, but the heaviest should go just north of you, or the strongest. We work our way down. You have something?
I was just going to say, I'm looking at our comments on our social media streams. A lot of folks asking, are there still tornado warnings at my place? There are 0 tornado warnings of any kind in our area at this point. All tornado warnings have been allowed to expire. Now it's just a wall of 60-mile-an-hour winds, potentially, in our far eastern counties. And if you live west of I-65, if you live in Louisville, your severe weather threat is done. About another 45 minutes to 1 hour before we get this last round of severe storms out of here, Ryan.
A couple little things here. The Lee Hamilton 265 westbound, right there at Cooper Chapel, west, or I should say east of I-65 there, is now shut down westbound due to that overturned semi. We also have a number of reports of damage from the MPing app that you can download for your phone from the National Weather Service. You can also submit those reports through RadarScope. The latest one is shingles off of a home in Elk Creek. That's along Taylorsville Road, just north of Taylorsville in Spencer County here. So we're starting to get kind of a trickling of those mild to moderate damage reports moving in here in the aftermath of these storms. You know, it's at night, hard to see. Folks kind of just starting to peek out and survey the damage on their property. So the damage reports will start to trickle in here over the overnight period, guys, both from MPing, National Weather Service, and our partners in emergency management and 911 dispatch across our region. Kevin.
All right. Thank you very much. Sending some messages to our newsroom here. We've got thousands of people without power. Many counties that we serve have at least some power outages. We're tracking the heaviest of the wind moving out of the viewing area slowly. Well, moving out of the area fast, really. But we still have our far eastern counties passing by. We're up to 11,000 outages from LG&E here in the metro and across LG&E's service area. We're still tracking strong wind passing out of Shelby County now into the Franklin County area. So that will be the next area of concern. These storms are slowly weakening, so that is some good news as these storms make their way off to the east, roughly at about 65, 70 miles an hour. They are moving fast, so this was a fast-hitting storm, but one that certainly was powerful and packed a punch. The other severe thunderstorm warning that we have to the south is just about out of Washington County. And we continue to see areas farther to the south. This would be our southernmost county down in Adair County with that potential to see those storms moving out of Glasgow, Edmonton. Those will be moving over toward Columbia. So that's the southern area. All right. So let's see if we have areas to the north. And Carson, I'll let you just take us on this tour.
Yeah, we'll go north to south here. We'll start things off in Jefferson County, Indiana. So the worst of the weather is moving out of Madison. It's crossing Highway 421. It'll be moving out of Jefferson County, Indiana in probably the next 5 minutes or so. We still have the severe thunderstorm warnings for Carroll County. Storms are moving out of Trimble County. But Carroll, Henry County still seeing very heavy rain, lightning, of course, that risk for 50, 60 mile per hour wind gusts. That stretches further south into Shelby County, east of Shelbyville, out near Waddy, Kentucky, Franklin County. You're about ready to see the worst of the wind, the worst of the rain, and still not seeing anything that is concerning when it comes to spin-up tornadoes. Again, the later we go into the night, the lower that tornado risk becomes. And Kevin, if you could shift that radar further south, I'll go and show that southern severe thunderstorm warning, southern Greene, southern Taylor. Basically, if you live south of Highway 68 in southern Kentucky, you're under that severe thunderstorm warning. This includes Allen, Barron, Metcalfe counties, even further south. If you know any family or friends down near Glasgow, Scottsville, Tompkinsville, they have that warning, as does Greene, Taylor, and Adair until 12:15 Central Time, 1:15 Eastern Time. Here in Louisville. Ryan, you got something?
Yeah, there's a fire, and it's a power pole reportedly on fire, and that's going to be at Preston Highway, right at the Gene Snyder there, just north of that. We're efforting to get more information about that, but just one of many reports of power poles and likely power poles being on fire tonight. For some reason, that's a thing tonight.
Yeah, a lot of wind.
Yeah.
Just creating the
It's just kind of amazing how many reports that have been so similar that we've gotten out of that.
Well, and we even had that earlier today with the gradient winds.
Indeed,
Jose was showing us on the live stream earlier, a power pole was just flaming right at the top of the power pole. Just remarkable stuff that we've seen today.
One of the side effects of having a very widespread wind event like this, we get to learn about how electricity works around here, that's for sure.
And some of the damage won't be realized until the sun comes up tomorrow.
Right.
I mean, some of this just happens and people don't even notice. We have pockets of heavy wind passing by Carrollton. That's going to move out of the area. We also see that Eminence along 421 has a very large pocket of wind. That's going to be moving out of southern parts of Henry County, and then it'll be out of our viewing area, but could clip northern Franklin County. So again, this area here would be one that we watch for that heavy wind moving out. And once that gets in, you see the latest warning being issued downstream for that pocket of wind I just mentioned. So that's the reason behind that.
That's Owen County, Kentucky, which is just outside of our area. But yes, still right along Highway 421 near Eminence. We've got that pocket of stronger wind.
And again, you can see the Willisburg area. That's down to the south, the strongest wind past that. We go to our southernmost areas. And again, still we're getting a little bit far away from the radar at that point, but you can still see that push of wind there would be coming toward the Edmonton area. That one will also be clipping parts of Adair County.
Adair County, yeah.
So that will give a little bit of wind. Haven't had any reports of damage coming out of this area at this point. So that's some good news, because things in general are on the downward trend of seeing the damage. When we look at our storm reports, this is where we're at. So let me go through just a few of these with you, because we have certainly had some of these today. And I'll start wide, and then we'll go into the metro area. But first of all, we do have some trees that have been reported down in Floyd County. That was the one blocking Keisler Road. All right. We see back toward Jasper, that's where we had the 51 mile per hour winds, and that was from the Jonesburg ASOS station. Let's go again, take a look. Litchfield, wind speeds there. Let me just query that. And that's coming up at 62 miles an hour. And that was from the Mesonet station in Litchfield. Another report, wind damage, multiple trees down in Litchfield. At this time, which was roughly about an hour plus ago, they had 1,400 customers without power. So again, that was down into the Litchfield and Grayson County area. When we look farther to the north, Oldham County coming in with a 61 mile per hour wind, very strong. We see that we had winds in Elizabethtown, 57 miles per hour. Let's go into the metro and see some of those damage reports that we had. We'll zoom in. Metro Louisville's had some strong winds too. These are, again, reports that have come in by spotters that have been online. So let's jump in closer to 58 mile an hour winds from Bowmanfield and the airport Louisville, 58 miles an hour wind.
Those were from the gradient wind earlier.
That was from earlier today.
Yes.
Look at the time now, 1:30 this afternoon. So those were probably some of our stronger winds. We may have had some of our stronger winds in, at least in those particular locations, outside of the thunderstorms.
Well, and we were mentioning as the storms were moving through the metro, just above our heads in downtown, there were some wind gusts from a HazCam in downtown, a couple hundred feet in the air, of 71 miles an hour. So quite frankly, we got lucky here in the metro, at least for now, that we did not see any sort of widespread wind damage, although, Ryan, we do have a lot of power outages, and there's a lot of photos that are starting to come in.
Yeah, check this out. Take this full screen here. This is a metal playground in E-Town getting ready to get lifted off the ground, and it's going to go flying. There it goes, kaboom. And this is from Brian Jones on Facebook. Thank you, thank you, thank you to Brian for sending in this video from his Nest camera. You can see all the debris flying around there. We'll watch it one more time, and then we'll go to a photo here from Madison, Indiana. But once again, you see that big metal playground structure again for kids. It starts to lift off a little bit. You can see the flashes of lightning. You can see all the little tiny debris flying around here. And 3, 2, 1, boom, there it goes. Whew, that is not fun to watch and not fun to put back together again tomorrow, most likely. We also have a report of damage here from Brittany Jackson in the Madison, Indiana area here, and that is a porch of hers on her front of her house that has been lifted, and you can see some of the railing has been lifted off and kind of displaced there, so certainly some damage there. Very, very carefully, they're going to have to survey that tomorrow morning, the homeowners here, to make sure that that is still structurally sound, to make sure it doesn't fall on them. So please be careful, Brittany, and your family up there in Madison, Indiana. So if you have photos or videos like the ones we have sent or showed here tonight, you can go to the Wave Weather Facebook page. There's a red box at the top of the page that says share your storm damage photos with us. Comment with your photo or video. We'll get it on the air here. You're our eyes and ears on the ground here. We don't know what's going on until you tell us, because we can't be everywhere all at once there, guys.
You know, we've said all the years that you can have the most powerful radar. You can spend millions of dollars on your radar, but there's one thing better. And that's ground truth, a set of eyes, because that's why it's so helpful. Speaking of that, over in southern Indiana, we wound up hearing that the semi is overturned on 265 at Cooper's Lane. There's also some debris on Cooper's Lane. So I'm not sure if it's over on top of it from the semi or if there may have been something that happened more where it blew the truck over and then ripped up something else on the ground. So I don't know.
Southern Jefferson County, call it Matilda Court. The top of a power pole is sparking.
That's the one near Preston
that's the
and
one.
Snyder.
So there's a more specific address. Our crews are on the way to that scene. Hopefully we can get you a live picture of it before we sign off tonight. But Matilda Court is where that sparking power pole is, and hopefully we can get a view of that here in just a moment.
All right. Again, things are slowly winding down in terms of active weather moving across. I'm going to give you another radar tour because we have been keeping an eye on the radar and the velocities. We still see some pockets of wind. Right now, those are moving across parts of Carroll County, and that will soon move out of Carroll County. But we continue to see that storm work its way to the north and east fairly fast. The pocket of heavy wind continues across and this is a good chunk of Henry County. That's going to move just north of Franklin. So again, easing just a bit. Still under a severe thunderstorm warning there. When we look at the warnings that we have across the area, you can see from our big board here that we have about 25 minutes left on the Carroll County storm. That covers just part of it. Adair, Greene, and Taylor, another 25 minutes. The others that we have will be allowed to expire within the next 10 minutes. So right at the top of the hour at 1 o'clock. We're going to expire many of the warnings that we have, and that will allow both our northeasternmost counties to be under the warning, that's Carroll, and then our southernmost counties, and that would be Adair, Greene, and Taylor. So things slowly winding down here as we push this massive line of storms through the area, and really, in some cases, I mean, I know there's damage, but this storm had massive potential, and I know the people that are having to deal with the damage are like, yeah, but it hit us, but it could have been so much worse. I mean, when you're dealing with wind systems like this, and we're taking our temperature that goes from mid to upper 70s, which is where we were today for highs, and then we're slinging back down into the teens for morning lows on Tuesday. That 48-hour span, what a difference. This is a massive cold front moving through, and it could have been worse.
Got another damage report. This is down in Rineyville. Donna Jones says, my brother's metal garage was picked up and tumbled about 500 feet in Rineyville, Hardin County. It was anchored down with extra anchors because of their first one being damaged by storm. So this is metal garage number 2 for these folks down in Rineyville, and it just flew 500 feet away. Yikes, that's a big problem. Another problem, power outages. They're populating the map here. We just got the latest numbers for Jefferson County. That's 7,554. I think it's about 11,000 within LG&E's entire system, which has some jurisdiction outside of Louisville here, by the way. So that's about 2% of power out. And again, as Kevin was saying here, the damage is bad. The storms were bad. They're not as bad as they could have been. This map, we would probably have expected it to be a whole lot worse than it is right now when it comes to power outages. About 20% out in Nelson County. Again, not great. 4,300 customers without power in the Bardstown area right now. Boston, Bloomfield also included there. 11% of Hardin County. That's going to be the E-Town, Radcliffe, West Point area. About 3,700 folks without power. And then our next worst county here, if you will, by percentage at least, is going to be Grayson County. And that's about 28.8% without power, 5,200 customers there. So it's this string in central Kentucky right here, at least by percentage, that's some of the worst that we have seen power outage-wise. Southern Indiana, of course, has had some problems too. I'll just query one of these, and that is Lawrence County. This has improved. About 2,000 customers without power there, Kevin.
And, you know, that map really does show that one storm that we tracked across there. And it was just that powerful, the couplet, it was the supercell, it was the one that started on that second line that developed on the southern end of that. Carson, you pointed that out very early in the coverage, and that was the one that just kept really showing the great signs of strong wind.
And of course, we'll have to wait and see what exactly that was.
Yeah, was it wind or was it a tornado?
Right. We saw what we believe was a debris signature, one near Caneyville in Grayson County, another in far western Hardin County. So there were at least 2 debris signatures. The question is, was it wind coming down in a straight line or was it twisting wind? And the National Weather Service will very likely go on at least some storm surveys starting tomorrow to figure out what happened earlier tonight.
The threat of severe weather is ending in a lot of our counties. We still have our easternmost counties under severe thunderstorm warnings and our southernmost. We are tracking those. We're obviously seeing things that are easing, or we'd be far more into it. You can see the ones that were over toward Frankfort, Shelbyville. That one's getting extended toward Lexington. So that is that push of wind that we talked about moving toward the Franklin County area, now over toward Fayette County. So that storm will continue making its movement off to the east. That warning will go until 1:45. That warning does not cover anyone in our viewing area. That would be the Lexington stations. So that's Bourbon, Fayette, Jessamine, and Scott counties.
That does clip eastern Franklin, that new warning does.
Oh, it does? Yes.
It does.
Sorry,
just,
I see that.
just barely.
It
but,
just set off our siren thing over here.
Just barely.
Enough for it to be almost out of the county, I see, though. So it won't be there long.
Right.
Especially because it's movement. And we've been pointing out all night, these are moving at, 55 to 65 miles an hour. Let's go to some of our cameras that we have. I know the storm tracker has been out and about. I think they finally came across a little bit of damage. So, okay, let's go to Brian Good. Brian.
Yeah, we're at that power line that was reported that spark to it. We can't tell too much. We're trying to keep a little bit of a distance away. But this is the Matilda Court area. This is just north of the Meyer that is on Preston Highway into Okolona. I know Jose is also heading in this direction, too. He may be able to get more information when he gets here. But I don't think anyone's been hurt or anything like that. But they do have, obviously, emergency crews at the scene. We don't see any signs of a fire or spark anymore. So more than likely, it may have killed the power to that line itself. But we're here. We're checking it out.
All right. And, Brian, when those winds came by, because you were not far from Mount Washington, 73 miles an hour, what was it like where you were?
Well, I don't think I really experienced over 70 where I was at, but it was kind of one of those situations. The lightning rapidly increased for about a good 90-second window, and that's when it seemed like a lot of the wind really pushed through. So it was such a heavy rain setup. It's very hard to see, really, where some of the strongest winds were coming down at that point. So we were just kind of just staying in a safe spot and trying to get in behind the storm. But I haven't seen any trees down or anything like that, just small limbs. This is probably the first time we've seen emergency vehicles at any location right now, at least in the metro right now that we're looking at.
All right. Really appreciate that. You're getting your first views of Matilda Court. Again, that's where we had power lines sparking. We know we have a tractor trailer that's been blown over in southern Indiana as well. That's over on the Lee Hamilton, right near Cooper's Lane. Debris has also been reported down on Cooper's Lane. So I don't know if that's from the truck or if something touched down. So hopefully we can get a crew over there to take a look at that, too. Meredith Lee has been in the storm tracker tonight. She's been really all over. Started southern Indiana, worked her way down through Meade County, down toward Hardin County. So let's go out to her and figure out where she is and what she has seen tonight. Hi, Meredith.
Hi, Kevin. Right now we are driving down 86. We are headed over towards Vertrees Church Lane. That's where we've heard reports of some downed power lines and poles. So we are on our way to check that out. We did pass one not too long ago. That was just a single line that was down. That seemed to be the extent of the damage, so we have our eyes out on that. Now, earlier when we were in Elizabethtown, we did see some minor debris in the street. We saw that basketball hoop that had been knocked into the street, as well as a couple trash cans, but we found our way over here, and so we are anticipating that we'll be over at that location in just a few minutes, Kevin.
Okay, we'll check back in with you. Thanks, Meredith. Appreciate that. Sometimes it's a wild goose hunt when you're out there in the middle of the night trying to find, especially when power is out. It can be tough. So really appreciate the crews that are out. We have warnings that are still in place. At 1 o'clock, 2 minutes from now, you're going to see several of these fade off, and then the bulk of those will be moving out. Now, the one we will still have to deal with will be the one to our south. But again, we've been watching this, and while we have a pocket of decent wind, this is higher in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Why? Because our radar beam is going higher as we shoot out in distance. So, again, if we were to have it mixed down to the ground, possibly, but it's tough to say. So those folks get warned for the potential as well.
Kevin, I'm going back and looking at the debris tracker from earlier tonight.
Okay, let's take a look.
Where we had some of those potential debris signatures showing up. If we could take Max 2 full so folks at home can get a better idea of what exactly we're looking at. This is called the correlation coefficient. That's a fancy scientific phrase for debris tracker. And what you look for in a tornado situation like this is these blue colors. And you see there was one blue area that showed up north of Caneyville in Grayson County right around 11 o'clock tonight. And then as we go further into the evening, not by much, maybe 20 minutes, you have to blink and you'll miss it. Right there in western Hardin County. Here was another little green-blue spot that showed up. So this is where we've had that damage where Meredith Lee and our wave storm tracker was along Highway 86 of power poles down and things of that nature. So those were the two debris signatures we had earlier tonight. One near Caneyville in Grayson County and that one you see right there along Highway 86 in western Hardin County. So if we had tornadoes tonight, they very likely, Ryan, could have been in those two spots.
Yeah, of course, correlation coefficient is an amazing tool for us there to be able to track all of that. We also are tracking your photos. We've had a literal flood of damage photos come into our Facebook page in the last about 20 minutes or so. This is perhaps one of the most impressive ones. This is from Dalton in Litchfield. This is a bunch of metal sheeting in what looks to be the drive-through lane of a bank. So we don't know where that's from. Maybe that's an outbuilding somewhere else. Maybe that's part of the roof of this bank. We can't tell. But what we do know is that there's a lot of debris there, and folks are out there taking a look at it, surveying it. We've got another photo. This is from Chastity. This is in Lebanon Junction. Neighbor's house, best friend's house, actually, mangled her shed, snapped a basketball goal, threw her trampoline into her neighbor's yard. Look at all that debris, all of those items that are probably precious to these folks now just kind of sitting out in the open. And we got to show this one more time because it's the video of the night. It is this metal playground that gets lifted into the air and kind of thrown into the backyard of this house near E-Town. Thanks to Brian Jones for sending this in about 20 minutes ago. He posted it. There it goes.
Uh-oh.
It's gone. Trampolines, unsecured, unanchored playgrounds, sheds, you name it. That's going to be the new national bird of Kentucky and Indiana flying around tonight, unfortunately, with winds like this, Kev.
All right, let's bring back up Meredith Lee's shot. She's in the storm tracker. She's out in parts of Hardin County, not far from Vertrees. That takes you just west of E-Town. And Meredith, have you come across the power down?
Yeah, Kevin, not too far down the road from where we just were. I'll turn the camera on from the roof of the storm tracker just so you can get a good look of what we are seeing out here. Here's where those lines are down, and you can see that there are crews that appear to be working on it, and we are losing you on IFB right now. The service isn't too great out here, but this is the scene of what we're currently seeing, hoping that camera adjusts a little bit. And yeah, it looks like crews are already working to try and get this sorted.
Yeah, I tell you what, you see the wind like that, and whether that was a tornado or just straight line winds. Can you tell how far down that goes? Is it a very small area, or does it continue down the road, Meredith, if you can hear me?
Kevin, I can only hear bits and pieces of you, but at this point, without getting any closer, we can't tell, but we will head down that way.
Okay, well, be careful. Don't cross over the line, of course. Yeah, appreciate that. And I know it's so dark out there, too, and when there's no power, it's tough to see. But you're getting an idea of the scope of what's happened around the area with those strong winds. Carson was in the, way of pointing out the debris. And that is where we had that tight couplet. Mm-hmm. And with that, we very well could have had a tornado touchdown that snapped a couple of poles. It took down the lines, maybe even caused some of the debris to be lofted into the atmosphere, which is, we've seen some debris up against the bank over in Litchfield that Ryan just showed us. So we very well could have had a tornado touchdown in this line of wind.
Yeah, maybe two, like we showed a few minutes ago. We have the damage that Meredith Lee just showed you out on Highway 86 in Hardin County, Caneyville. We had a report as those storms were rolling through Caneyville tonight that there was a tornado on the ground. Now, again, the National Weather Service has to go out and confirm that with storm surveys. They'll likely do that tomorrow. But I'll be very curious to see exactly how things played out tonight. And Kevin, it was that one supercell on that initial line of storms that has seemingly caused most of this damage tonight as it kind of merged into the main line of storms. New tornado warning.
This is Adair.
Yes.
Adair County. Hello.
Okay. Well, let's jump back to that, and we'll stay with this. Let's jump back in.
This was the signature, Kevin, you were pointing out a few minutes ago that looks like it may have perked up just a little bit here in the last few minutes.
I think you may have to take control on the computer. Mine is...
Okay. I'm having a little trouble myself, actually, on my computer.
Get it on Max 3 here.
Oh, we have the tornado warning. I can tell you just a little bit about it. This is going to be for Adair.
Yes.
Again, this is...
I'm having trouble too.
both tornadoes and extensive straight-line wind damage possible. This is 9 miles southwest of Columbia, and it's moving off to the northeast at about 50 miles an hour. So that's what we do know about the storm. I can point out some of the communities nearby, so bear with me. I know we can't change the view. I mean, you're seeing it on your screen, so you see Columbia. It's coming towards you, so you should be in your tornado-safe place. Just when we thought we were going to get out without having another tornado warning.
That's how it always goes.
Isn't that the truth? Let's just point out a few places here. When we're looking at this, it's over a very rural area at this point. It's past Edmonton, but it's solidly between Edmonton and Columbia.
It's right along the Cumberland Parkway in that part of southern Kentucky. So heads up, Columbia, you need to be in your safe place. Basically, the entire county, most of Adair County, needs to head to the tornado shelters. Tornado warning goes until 12:45 Central Time, because our friends in Adair County are on Central Time. So about 40 minutes on this warning.
All right, and while we're watching that, I know Meredith, if we can show that, I want to give an idea of what can happen with these types of winds, and that is, and I know she can't hear us, so we don't have to talk to her. I can just voice over what we're looking at. You're looking at emergency personnel along the road.
I can hear you now.
Okay, Meredith, go ahead. Can you see the pole?
Yes, so it does look like there are about 2 poles that have been down. Here's the responding vehicle who is blocking off this road, so then everyone knows to go a little bit slower. And yeah, look at that. That's just hanging right over the side of the roadway, just about. And these lines are still attached.
And this is 86?
From talking with LG&E earlier, they said you got to assume that these are live. Yes, this is on 86.
And there's another one.
Oh yeah, there's another one. That's what we saw coming in.
All right.
See if I can flip this
Radar.
back around. Oh.
Yeah, it's so tough to see in the dark, I know. You're watching Meredith Lee. She's down on 86, not far from Vertrees, moving across parts of Hardin County. Obviously, we've had some very strong winds. Those poles were laid in one direction. Doesn't mean it was straight line winds. Could have been a tornado. We did pick up some debris. Right now, our focus on the radar is to the south. This is a tornado warning that was just issued for our southernmost counties. That's why we're still on the air. So we're not going to go anywhere just yet because we wanted these storms to get out of the viewing area. This is for Adair County, moving right across far western Adair County toward Columbia. And that storm is going to approach Columbia. It's moving fast. We still have that storm is moving very similar to what they have been throughout the day, and that's going to be at 50 miles an hour.
Let's put Weather 3 in the big box here so we can fix Kevin's graphics. Weather 3 has updated radar, so we can see something that's not 3 minutes old here, if we can do that. No, that's going to be a bit of a gymnastics thing for the control room.
We can keep it.
But there you go. Yeah, there it is full at least, so we can see that. And we'll fix Kevin's graphics here in a minute. I don't know what kind of hit we just took here.
It's happened in my computer as well.
I did it too, but I've got us back up here.
Okay.
So there's the tornado warning. We're going to leave that up. We'll fix Kevin's graphics.
And again, and Ryan, why don't you work on that, and I'll work on the computer here. Thank you. The tornado warning, again, Adair County. It's the only warning that we currently have in our viewing area. Franklin County, you were under the severe thunderstorm warning. That has ended. That's past your area. So now it is solidly 1:08 in the morning down in Adair County. It's not quite there. It's 12:08, so you've got a little bit more time. This warning will go until 12:45 Central Daylight Time. So 1:45. And now we're coming back up here on the graphics, so give us just a minute. You can see that is approaching Columbia, moving through Gradyville. And as soon as we're able to control graphics 1, I'll let you know to swap it back. And Ryan, will you just put up the velocity on that if you have a second?
Yeah, velocity on Weather 3 coming your way here in just a moment.
Sorry, we had a computer hit, so
yeah, something crazy happened.
Hit all of ours.
Are you back up?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm working on his next.
I got you.
Don't you love technology?
Yeah.
1 o'clock in the morning.
Weather 3 is up and good, and we've also got Weather 4 in a split, just in case we need that.
And I'm back up too. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So let me
pop up Max 1.
Mercy.
And then I'll be able to control it. All right. Now we're good. So if we can switch back to Max 1, Brian, whenever you have a chance, thank you. And there we go with the, I'm just going to pop on the velocity. Yeah, you can see the couplet that shows up. But again, we're shooting a little higher in the atmosphere, so it's not completely able to be seen. But that is the area of concern, moving right toward Columbia. So in that general area, Columbia, most populated part of the county seat. You should be in your tornado safe place, lowest level. Sirens going off in Adair County. This is a tornado warning. You've already had some strong winds, but now you have the potential for even stronger winds to move in. We've seen it a number of times today, Carson, where throughout the day, wind was a problem. I mean, that's been a problem since this morning.
Yeah, about during our 9 a.m. newscast, which feels like forever ago now, we had those wind gusts really start to ramp up. 59-mile-an-hour gust at Ali International Airport earlier this afternoon. We've had all kinds of gusts in that 50 to 60, even 70-mile-an-hour range throughout the night. I should be able to get back online here. Thank you, Ryan, for coming to the rescue.
Should be in good shape.
So we're good now, and we'll really keep watching this tornado warning in Adair County. Let me pull up the velocity here. And yeah, now you mentioned a few minutes ago, Kevin, this is a tricky radar spot. Adair County is far enough away from the Fort Knox radar and far enough away from the Nashville radar to where we're really looking pretty high up in the storm for this rotation. But it's there, so we obviously understand why the warning is out till 12:45 Central Time for our friends down near Columbia.
All right, we'll track this. Again, tough to see on the radar exactly where that couplet may be, but it is approaching Columbia. The strongest of the winds should be over Columbia. Next in line for that would be places like Purdy, Craycraft, Dunbar Hill, Cane Valley. Those are all areas of concern as we move that to the north and east at about 50 miles an hour. So the forward motion of this storm, not as fast as the others, but it is the only warning that we have in the viewing area at this point. Additional warnings off to our north and east, things slowly calming down. The radar showing rain lingering behind that, but all in all, the strongest wind that we have working its way across Adair County at this point. Damage reports continue to come in. I suspect those will be the case as the night goes on, and that is what we anticipate to be seen tomorrow morning. When some folks wake up, they're going to notice some wind damage in places. Not everywhere. We've said this throughout the entire coverage. This would not be for everyone, but there would be places along that line that are impacted, and that's what we've seen. Is Jose, are we able to take Jose? I know he was out at the fire that we had going on in Jefferson County. We had a power pole that was on fire. Okay, they're still working on that. All right, so we, again, are watching the radar to the south, and pretty much the only thing we can say about that is Columbia, you are under the strongest winds. This tornado warning obviously in place until
12:45 Central.
30 more minutes. Yeah.
Yes. And the circulation, if we've got something, we hopefully should know pretty quick because it's right on top of Columbia, which, as you mentioned, is the county seat of Adair County. A lot of folks live there.
And the tough part is, I mean, sometimes you have to warn for this because you don't know if it's to the ground.
Right.
So even though your radar beam is going out and it's, I've lost my mic now, and it's high in the sky, it's like, well, we don't know if it's reaching the ground or not. So it's like, well, we better be safe than sorry.
Right.
The warning comes out.
Especially in an environment like this where these tornadoes have developed rather quickly tonight, or what we believe could have been tornadoes have developed quickly tonight. You see that kind of rotation on a radar scan. Yeah, definitely want to play it safe, and that's why we have this tornado warning out for Adair County. Again, the rotation is right on top of Columbia, right along the Cumberland Parkway, right along Highway 68, Highway 80 as well, and this will also be moving into Russell County, Kentucky within the next 30 minutes, just outside of Wave Country. But if you know anybody near Jamestown or Russell Springs, Kentucky, might want to let them know. New severe thunderstorm warning now coming out for the southern part of Adair County, south of the rotation, Kevin.
Yeah, we can see that flashing on the screen. Let's just get the numbers on that. This is a severe thunderstorm warning. Again, parts of southern Adair County. That's going to be also including parts of Clinton, Cumberland, and Russell counties. It comes with the tornado possible tag, the 70-mile-per-hour wind tag. So that's going to be moving over toward the Lake Cumberland area for folks familiar with the lake down there. Of course, just north of that's where we have that strongest wind push moving right toward Columbia. And on a wider view, you can see sort of the area of concern, perhaps, and that's where that sort of bows out there. That is why there's the tornado warning. I mean, anytime you kind of see that notch, that's an indicator that we have wind coming into the storm. Its forward motion is enough to create some strong winds on its own, and then when we look at the velocity on that, you can see it as well. So, warning issued. Whether that winds up being just wind or possible tornado, there could be damage with that. And that's the reason folks in Adair County, especially the Columbia area, moving toward Purdy, Craycraft, you have to be in your tornado safe place at this point, Ryan.
Yeah, we got some new damage photos in. One of them from Mount Washington, an area that had a 73-mile-per-hour wind gust earlier. This one from Judy McMahon. This photo here, mangled wrought iron table and chairs, and through the grill on, I'm assuming, this deck here in the middle of them. So all this patio furniture, some of which was kind of heavy, all thrown around. Also wanted to give you an update on power outages real quick here, because things have actually improved quite a bit in Louisville. In fact, we went from about 7,200 before to about 6,000 customers without power. So those numbers now not going back up and starting to go down, thanks to all of our amazing power crews for getting out in the elements, getting everybody back online. About 11% still out down there in Hardin County. Guys, we'll continue watching these numbers, but I think we've seen the peak of this for this evening.
Yeah, certainly across our area, and hopefully those are the worst. I mean, when we talked about the wind speeds, 73-mile-an-hour winds, Mount Washington, that's impressive. We've seen the damage reports. Thankfully, it's been somewhat sporadic, but we're still watching the storm to our south, and you can see that moving now toward the Christine area and Craycraft. That is that push of wind where we could have some rotation. It's why the tornado warning is out.
The circulation is now moving north and east of downtown Columbia, and it's trailing right along Highway 206 towards Christine, towards Eunice community. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing these. Pellington, Dunbar Hill. So those northern communities in Adair County definitely need to be in your safe place now. This rotation still holding on. Kevin, I haven't seen anything on the debris signatures at this point.
Yeah, and you can see the strongest of that wind over the Garland area,
yes,
as you pointed out, and that will approach, like you mentioned, right along Ella, moving over toward 206. So the road.
New damage report from Fort Knox. Fort Knox Dispatch has multiple trees down. Some took out power lines. Also reports of trees down on cars in Fort Knox, but no injuries. No injuries.
48 knot gust coming out, so that's roughly 55 miles an hour over Lexington.
Those winds still holding on as they push east, but that's below severe limits, which is good.
Strongest storm we have anywhere across the entire region, and in fact, if I just show you the watches and warnings that we have, it is the only tornado warning on the map across the country, and that is Adair County. So that is the storm to watch. This is the one that is still showing some signs of rotation and strong winds. In fact, we may be seeing the best signature of it we've seen in terms of rotation.
Let me double check the debris again. Nothing yet. That's when you see all that noise behind me, all that green and yellow and orange, that's not debris. What you want to look for is those concentrated spots of greens and blues on a debris tracker map.
And the tough part about trying to find the debris that far out is it has to be lofted so far into the atmosphere.
Right.
It's like, oh, that may not even be possible.
Right.
So it's not to say there's not a tornado. It's just that the radar can't see the debris if there is any.
Yeah.
But we can see the wind.
Yes.
And if that's mixing down, as we would assume it would be in some places, or at least the potential would be, because of the heavy rain that we have moving through, that would be right along the Christine area of 206.
Moving northeast at 50. So the forward motion with this particular tornado warning is not quite as intense as it was earlier tonight. We had those storms earlier racing at, what was it, 70 miles per hour at one time? And
75, I think, was the top
75,
speed.
You're right. Yeah. I mean, these storms were moving along tonight, and they still are. 50 miles per hour is still a fast-moving storm, but it's slowing down just a little bit.
Yeah, and we've asked and solicited for some of your photos and the damage reports when it's safe to do so online. And Ryan, I know you're sitting over there. That's fine. You don't have to get up. But have you seen anything else coming in?
No, nothing. Well, turn off the mic. Haven't seen anything else of real concern at this point other than what I have showed you. Lots of folks just putting kind of text reports in there, things like a camper awning that was blown off, rolled off, and kind of thrown a bit. Lots of trees down, lots of lightning video from people's doorbell cameras, which is kind of interesting to watch for sure. And then, of course, we've got another photo, and I'm going to try to get this in. This might take me a minute or two, but I'll get you back to that. Another photo of that bank drive-through roofing material debris in there, coming from Melissa Rock. Melissa, I'm getting your photo on the air here shortly. Give me a couple minutes, and I'll have that, guys.
You know, I've punched up the traffic cam that you had from the INDOT, Indiana Department of Transportation. This is I-265 at Cooper's Lane. So we have seen where that is blocked, with semis turned over there, debris down below on Cooper's Lane. So we'll work to find out more information on that. The radar, back to it we go before we go to Jose, and that is going to show that we do have still the tornado warning and the potential for the rotation moving across parts of Dare County. That would be moving anywhere from Christine, Craycraft up to Dunbar Hill. So that general area with the strongest wind, greatest rotation right over Christine. Anything else you want to add to that, Carson?
Not at this point. As has been the case, a lot of the tornado warnings tonight, the rotation is persistent. And like we talked about, it's tougher this far away from a radar to look for debris, potential debris. So the rotation is still there. And if nothing else, we still could have a burst of 50, maybe 60 mile per hour winds, even if we don't see a tornado. So we'll keep that warning in place until 12:45 Central Time, which is another 25 minutes. We should mention Columbia, that rotation has moved out of Columbia. So Columbia, you guys are in good shape now.
And I'll put up the Jefferson County rain totals. We've had anywhere between that quarter to a half an inch of rain across Jefferson County. Quick hitting because it moved through so fast. But when it did come with thunder, lightning, and the strong winds. Let's go to Jose Cizalla. He's not too far away down across southern parts of Jefferson County. And Jose, give us an update on where you are and what's happening there.
Hey, Kevin. So we're outside just off South Park Road. That's right off of Preston Highway. I was telling my photographer a good reference point was to just go past Southern High School. And we did get that call earlier reporting at least the potential of a fire. But what it seems to be was a pole right in front of us in this neighborhood street. Thankfully, it seems like the threat is over. And we did see Okolona fire here a little earlier. Not the biggest presence because there was at least, one big fire engine by the time we arrived here, which was, let's say, 5-7 minutes ago. But as we were arriving, the light you see out there in the distance, it is an LG&E contractor. And thankfully, I was able to talk to him before he, went to go do his job. He's waiting for a crew to arrive, Kevin. So good news is that folks out here on this street, they haven't lost their power, still got the lights on. I'm jealous of them just because it's probably nice and warm. The temperature's definitely dipped down when you're out here and getting wet. And secondly, sort of I'm going to call it the morbid updates of things that can happen in extreme weather. And I'll disclose this to you guys. It sounds like, unfortunately, there was a dead squirrel that was up there for some time. It was dry, but the rain made the dead squirrel a conductor. And you could still see it sparking up there at the very top. So what these LG&E contractors, what this crew leader's waiting for is for the rest of his guys to arrive so they can safely handle the matter. So on the human toll side of things, thankfully everyone seems to be just fine. No real dangers or concerns, at least for the folks out here right now.
All right, Jose, thank you. We'll blame that one on the squirrel. We're still tracking the wind to our south. Want to get back to Adair County, the velocity. We've not let our eyes off of this while Jose was speaking. Carson was glued to this, and we are now both looking at the wind field. Still, again, even though it's high on the radar beam, still shows potential of producing not only rotation but strong wind.
And it's kind of wrapping up a little bit, Kevin, and that's what
you can see that.
Yeah, it's a little concerning. When you get those greens and reds wrapping together, twisting, that's where you may have a quick spin up trying to develop. So again, the tornado threat has passed Columbia. This is near Purdy, Christine, near Craycraft, Gentry's Mill, Ella, those communities there in the northern half of Adair County. Please stay in your safe place, easy for me to say. And there was also a new tornado warning right along the Tennessee border. That's not an issue for us, but if you all saw that a few moments ago, that's down near Cumberland and Monroe counties.
We have Ella, Eunice, Pellyton, a number of places as this works its way over toward eventually moving out of Adair County, and that will take it over toward Liberty, which some folks are familiar with, especially if you're down in that area. So that's the tornado warning. A new tornado warning was issued a little farther to the south across the Kentucky-Tennessee border. That's down toward the Albany area. Again, you can see on that view the wind coming into the Albany area. It switches radars on me. As we zoom back up, you'll notice. That is the only warning that we have in the viewing area. That's this tornado warning that's in place for Adair County. Again, the worst is now past Columbia. Late at night, tough to get the reports. Ryan, I don't know if you have additional reports. Sorry, I just realized you were standing there.
No, I'm good. I'm just chilling out. The tornado warning's more important here.
Yeah, well,
I got old information. You guys got new stuff.
We'll keep, we'll keep watching this, but bring us up to date with what you have.
Yeah, so I do have a new photo here of what's gone on down in Litchfield. This was the roofing material. Not sure if it's from this bank here, because that's obviously a bank drive-through that is down into the lanes of the drive-through there. You can see the photo from Marissa Rock. Thank you, Marissa. This is new coming in. The same exact bank here from Dalton Stiers. This thing must be the evening entertainment down there in Grayson County. Everybody's got photos of it here. And you can see all the twisted, what looks to be maybe aluminum roofing material. There's definitely some 2x4s embedded in this. Some damage maybe to this building, maybe an adjacent building. Hard for us to say at this point. But it does look like, of course, that Litchfield did sustain some damage tonight. This could be an area that, of course, may have had some pretty strong straight-lined winds. And, of course, for those folks who are worried about maybe you've had a tornado in your area tonight, there were two areas of concern, areas south and west of Louisville, a little closer to like western Hardin County and then into Grayson County, where we did see some little blips of tornado potential debris there tonight. So this is a situation where most folks saw straight-line winds. A very select few folks may have seen a tornado or two out of this kind of situation, guys.
All right, Ryan, thank you. Again, radar update. We have Adair and Russell counties under the tornado warning. This is now past Columbia. This will go until 12:45, so we'll stay on the air with you until that can either expire or get canceled. I have no belief that it would get canceled early simply because we still show some of that rotation. It may move out of Adair County before 1:45 or 12:45 local time. That's going right toward the Dunville area. This is a bad scan. I can't change it, but I can tell you that the strongest of the winds are now passing the Ella area, that general region. That's going to take it up toward the Dunville area, moving over to Russell County.
Yeah, and I believe this possible tornado would be out of Adair County before 12:45. But of course, it'll be heading towards Russell County, maybe clipping parts of Casey County. Both of those just outside of our coverage area. Our sister station, WKYT, in Lexington, will take care of those folks as this storm keeps pushing eastward. But once we get this tornado warned storm out of Adair County, we're going to wrap up our severe weather risk, it appears, right on schedule. We said by about 2 a.m. these storms will be exiting our eastern counties, and that looks to be right on schedule at this point.
And we're already seeing some of the rain end in the western part of the viewing area. I'll put some temperatures on for you so you can see the difference. I mean, we're already down to 41 in Paoli and Evansville. So a sign of things to come as we bring in the colder temperatures. Even down to Columbia and Campbellsville, it's in the mid-50s with severe weather in progress.
And don't look now, but across northern Illinois into Missouri, you see behind me, we've got snow showers moving in, and we will be tracking those tomorrow. That's why our alert day will continue into Monday as the wintry side of this powerhouse storm.
Oh, you're full of good news.
I try to be. I try to be.
Oh, man, just when you thought winter was over, not so fast.
A large tree on a house in Flaherty just reported from 1141 tonight. Not sure if that's new, but something we might need to float out there.
That's Southern Mead, correct?
I believe so.
Flaherty, yeah. It's working your way just west of Radcliffe.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That was near where we had that pocket of very intense wind right over Fort Knox. and that was what prompted the destructive severe thunderstorm warning for Louisville. So that checks out, I suppose.
We also had some strong winds earlier today in Henry County. Let me show you what that looked like. You're going to see some of the viewers' submissions here. This was enough. You sometimes get these pole barns. Even the gradient winds from this afternoon that were at 59 miles an hour in Louisville.
Right.
We saw that in other places around the region.
Yes, we did. There were several gusts in the low to mid 50s. Everybody saw those kind of wind gusts, and that's what will happen with those kind of winds, whether they're thunderstorms or not.
Yeah, and they not only take down the barns, but they can take down the limbs, which consequently take down the power lines. So we've seen that in a number of places today. That was over in Henry County. Thanks for showing that. That came with the thunder. That came with the winds preceding the thunderstorms today. And then, of course, tonight we've been tracking the thunderstorms and that line of storms that have been moving through, in some cases with even stronger winds. Now, some of you had the strongest winds earlier today because that's when the sun was stirring up the atmosphere. Tonight, you really had to be in that line and have sort of one of the couplets or a kink in the line to where you would have that strong push of wind that would have exceeded you over the 40 to 60 mile per hour winds we had earlier today. Now you can see down the line from that tornado warning, they're extending a warning, but it's a severe thunderstorm warning.
Right.
So as we expected on that, the rotation, tough to pick out, may not be there, easing just a bit to a severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado possible tag on that. That's just about out of the viewing area, and then we'll be able to get you back to programming or to bed in some cases. Some folks already
in all cases, except for some of us. I guess.
Yeah. Some. I mean, I saw Tawana. She's not going to bed anytime soon. So yeah, she's going to be working through the night to prepare the forecast for tomorrow, which you mentioned was cold and snowy.
Ew. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Yeah. By the way, Tuesday morning, lows in the teens, wind chills single digits.
Oh, great.
So,
well, the good news is I think everybody's power will be back on roughly by then. Speaking of power outages, did want to update that here in Jefferson County. That number has gone down in a pretty good way here. 4,078 customers now without power. That's about 1% of LG&E customers here in Jefferson County. Let's give you an update on Nelson. That's 20%, roughly 21% without power. That's 4,300 customers. That's a pretty significant outage continuing down that way. Hardin County, that's about 11%. This number has not really moved. Power crews are still getting on that tonight. That may be a more complex situation to remedy, unfortunately, much like it probably is in Grayson County. We have seen the damage out of the Litchfield area, likely from straight line winds, maybe a quick touchdown in Grayson County there tonight. We'll see 28% without power, 5,057 people without power. Look, it's going to be hard to keep warm tonight with the cold air moving in if you're still without power in one of our counties this evening. Please do not use any sort of combustible stove in your home to keep yourself warm, all right? This is not a good idea. Make sure that you're using things like blankets and quilts. Maybe go to a neighbor's house or a friend's or a family's place that you can stay warm in that they have power. But please, please, please don't try to be lighting up grills or anything inside your house tonight. There. What's
Always wise.
Following up on that Flaherty damage report, the Weather Service is now saying multiple buildings severely damaged in Flaherty with power lines down and trees and roadways there in southern Meade County. So just kind of adding a little more detail, Brian, to that report you said a moment ago.
Yeah.
Interesting wording there.
Yeah, and you know, we may, while Meredith is down there, and I'm sure tomorrow will be a whole nother day where we send folks, but she may want to come through Flaherty just to see if we can get some of that. I think she's pretty close to that. So
yeah,
she's
Western Hardin County is where she was on Highway 86, and
so
that's a pretty straight shot up into southern Meade County.
And they'll have that for the morning show. I know Jose is going to go over and check out the overturned tractor trailer that we have. That was over on 265. Southern Indiana. You see what a mess that is. It has the road shut down there, and we know that there's debris on Cooper's Lane, which is just beneath that. So whether that's from the truck or something else, I don't know, but we'll look into that. So we've had a number of areas that have had damage, but it has been somewhat sporadic, as we've mentioned. On the radar tonight, all eyes are to our south. This storm is just about out of here. The National Weather Service, again, tracking this storm out of Adair County, and it's almost out. As soon as that's out of there, that warning will be allowed to expire for Adair County, and then the severe thunderstorm warning will take over. So right now, What time is it? It's 1:33. That's set to expire at 1:45. So technically about another 12 minutes left on that. We'll see if that holds or if it's able to expire early. I suspect it's almost out of there.
Yeah, I mean, maybe by 1:40, here in the next 7 minutes. It's literally, Kevin, in that bad spot between Louisville's radar, Nashville's radar, and Jackson, Kentucky's radar. It's right on top of a range fold where the scan doesn't look good, in other words. So there's still something there. It's just hard to really
identify
it, right.
Well, it's passing by. If it's anywhere, it's moving right along the border south of Barnett Springs over toward the Dunville area. It's where it looks to be the strongest to me.
Still might be a good idea if you know anybody in Russell County to shoot them a text, give them a call, let them know there's a storm that's trying to produce a tornado in Russell County, or about to move into Russell County, I should say.
Yeah, so they're going to hold on to it for about another 5 minutes. So as soon as it's out, it'll be out, and then the warning will expire. So, as you mentioned, probably get an expiration time of about 5 minutes ahead of time.
Right.
But it's, by all intents and purposes, almost moving out. So we'll continue to watch that. That, is out of Adair County, so we're not going to put a lot more. We'll watch it as it rolls into Russell County, but for Adair County, right, you're pretty much in the clear. Everybody else in the viewing area also in the clear. So some good news of severe weather. Now the rain is continuing, and we have had rain that continues to fall across the area. Some of those totals closer to a half an inch, quarter of an inch in places like Shelbyville, LaGrange. But you can see some higher totals where you had over an inch of rain in some of the heavier thunderstorms across the region. So that's what we've seen. Here in Louisville, our metro totals ranged anywhere between that quarter to a half an inch as well. And that's a pretty common total. So while we're watching that, we're going to start to wrap up our coverage, but let's make one more loop around and go over to Ryan Hoke.
Okay, I did want to discuss the fact that the winds may actually creep back upward again tonight as you're sleeping. Look to our west. Owensboro now has a 35-mile-per-hour gust. You can see all of these strong wind gusts here in the bright, warm and purple colors sort of west of our area. So there may be, as this cold air slides in tonight, another intensification of the wind gusts. Would they be to like the 60-mile-per-hour level? I don't think so. I don't think this will cause additional damage, but some material or like pieces of yard furniture that are kind of strewn about in your yard, they may move a bit more overnight tonight as this really cold air moves in. Right now, 32-mile-per-hour gusts down there in Campbellsville, Carson. So it may be a little loud tonight as you're trying to get some sleep here. How many hours are you going to get between 1:30 and whenever you have to wake up? That's up to you, I guess.
Well, I tried to take a little nap in between shifts today, fellas, and that wind was howling so loudly. Yes. It was tough. So, yeah, that wind is going to be an issue. Let's shift our attention briefly to the wintry side of this because I'm so full of this wintry good news. Here's Futurecast. As we go through tomorrow morning or later this morning, you notice we get towards 6 o'clock in the morning, those snow showers will start to move in. So you may get about 2 hours of dry time tonight before these snow showers start to move back in. And it's going to be a snow globe effect tomorrow where the gusty winds and the snow showers just make you feel like you're at a snow globe. Now, warm ground temperatures, the wet ground will help to keep accumulations light. But even so, as those temperatures keep on crashing into the 30s tonight and into the day tomorrow, a few slick spots may develop, especially on bridges and overpasses. When it comes to any accumulations, we're not expecting much. Maybe a little coating on the grass or on the rooftops of the car or the house. We'll just have to keep an eye on those slick spots concerns, mainly on bridges and overpasses with these snow showers that'll be moving in later on this morning, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, that's just wild to think about. The tornado warning is going to, be allowed. It's already out of Adair County, so that will be fading out. Technically, it's scheduled to end at 1:45. We'll keep our coverage going till then, so it's just another, what is that, 8 minutes left in our coverage. And I just want to do that because I want to go back to talk about what we've seen today. And let's make one more loop around. We'll go through all of us in the studio, but I also want Meredith to jump in. She's in the storm tracker, sort of some of the things she's seen. Clearly, she saw those power lines that were down, and we have video of that came into the newsroom. So let me bring in Meredith first as we start to wrap up our coverage here. Meredith, I guess the wildest thing you saw, you've taken us on quite a tour today. Southern Indiana, you were in Corydon. We saw the flags starting to whip there as the storms approached, but the worst damage had to be those power lines down.
Yeah, for sure, Kevin. I'm hoping that you're able to hear me. I just got my microphone turned back on. Yeah, the worst for sure was those power lines that we saw. That was the greatest extent of the damage, of those hanging out just kind of over the roadway, as you saw. Now, we did take kind of a side trip to try and locate a house that reportedly had its roof taken off, and we did see some damage to a roof on a house, but it was unclear if that was the one that we were trying to track down, as this road, this is Pierce Mill Road that we're on right now. It stretches quite a long ways, and it's very difficult to see in the dark, and we also don't have very much service out here. We do plan to stop by Flaherty on the way back towards Louisville to try and assess some of the damage there. We're getting some reports in right now that this is one of the harder hit areas from the storm damage. So hopefully we'll have that for you in the morning.
All right. Well, we really appreciate it, Meredith. I know it's been a long day for you. Thanks for being out. And sometimes it's a wild goose chase when you're looking at the nighttime and you're trying to track down some of the damage. We always try to get behind the storm in something like that so that you're out of harm's way. But boy, it's sometimes tough. So appreciate Meredith and Michael out in the storm tracker working to bring us some of those images that have been coming in. All right, Carson, we'll start with you. You talked about the alert day tomorrow, the wintry side of this deal. It's short-lived, at least. I know spring begins on Friday, so fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, yeah. We talked about those snow showers that will be moving in shortly. Tawana will be tracking those for you, as well as the aftermath of tonight's storms coming up on sunrise, starting at 4:30. Let's jump now to Tuesday morning. You've heard us mention this from time to time tonight. This is what we're going to be waking up with Tuesday morning. St. Patrick's Day, upper teens with those actual temperatures as we go into Tuesday morning. Maybe right at 20 here in Louisville, but when you factor in that wind, it's going to still be breezy for the next day to day and a half, and many of you will be waking up Tuesday morning with those wind chills in the single digits. So that colder air is moving in as we speak. We're in the 30s all day tomorrow, and then by Tuesday morning we are in the teens and wind chills in the single digits. And oh, by the way, gentlemen, there is a chance for more snow showers Wednesday morning that we got to watch as well.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
It's a perfect week to be on vacation.
Yeah.
I mowed my lawn this afternoon. What is this teens talk? Oh, my God.
Hey, before we jump over to Ryan, I don't know if we can just take Meredith's shot, but I did see some limbs and a lot of leaves, or I guess it was twigs since there aren't very many leaves out yet. But I just want to show what that might look like. Maybe it was just my eyes, but it seemed as though there's at least some stuff in the road
debris
there.
Oh, yep, they're running over it.
And that's something everybody will have to keep an eye on heading to work tomorrow morning everywhere in Wave Country, from the wind earlier today to the severe storms we've had tonight. There could be a lot of these kind of little tree limbs and debris everywhere across the region.
Yeah, and you can see just the kind of road they're on. It's narrow. It's, a one-lane road, it looks like.
Be careful, guys.
Yeah, this isn't something that's surrounded by trees, but a lot of debris. But again, that's what it looks like when you're out in that wooded rural area where we've had some damage that's occurred, whether that be roofs peeled off of homes, which we have had reports of, trees down, power lines down. And when she was traveling earlier on 86, you could see at least 3 or 4 of those power poles just completely bent over.
And that was right where we had that debris on radar around 11:30 tonight. So we'll see what exactly that was.
Yeah, begs the question about more debris, and Ryan Hoke's been keeping up with a lot of your reports that you've been sending in via social media.
Yeah, speaking of debris, we do want to revisit this bank here in Litchfield. Dalton, thanks for sending in this photo. All this roofing material that, of course, is in the drive-thru of the bank. Also just got a report in Flaherty. Quite a few damage reports in Flaherty. One of them was a bank sign that was damaged, so not a good night to be in the financial business for some reason in Kentucky here. Of course, from Brian Jones, we had this incredible security camera video of this metal play set being lifted off the ground. This is the video of the night right here, and thrown into the backyard. 3, 2, 1, there it goes. And boy, that's going to be something to clean up tomorrow morning. Not so fun. Also not so fun being in your home tonight without power or heat. Not great, right? Because the temperature is tanking. We've actually seen an uptick in the power outage numbers in Louisville. From what I showed you just a few minutes ago, we've gone from 4,000 to now back up to 6,000 without power. That's 1.5% of LG&E customers served here in Louisville. Those 3 orange counties, not Orange County, but literally a colored orange on the map county here. One of them is Nelson County, and that is 19.9% out, 4,172. Let's get you to Hardin County. That includes E-Town at 11.1%. That's about 3,700 folks, or I should say customers without power. And then, of course, Grayson County, pretty hard hit, 28%. That's about 5,000 without power. Indiana is faring a little bit better. We're at 2% out in Orange County this time. Actually, the name, not the color, up there in southern Indiana. So these numbers may fluctuate a bit. Just because the number goes up doesn't mean it won't come back down in a short time. They may have to take some folks offline to fix one thing, patch that up, and then get everybody else back online. So thanks to our power crews. You guys have been doing a great job this evening, and we know you'll continue to work hard overnight tonight, Kev.
Yeah, boy, they work in anything. Doesn't matter the conditions. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. We have had a report of a tree on a car. That's in the 11,000 block of Preston Highway. And Jose is on his way over to check out, that was South Preston Highway, by the way. And Jose is on his way to check out that overturned truck over on 265, the Lee Hamilton. That was going across Cooper Lane?
Yeah, Cooper's Lane
yes.
there, right just east of I-65 on the Lee Hamilton.
So we'll see what that's like. You'll have images of that on Sunrise. In addition to that, on his way, I-65 south and north of University Boulevard, many street lights seem to be out. So we do have power outages even in the metro, which I would expect.
Yeah, 6,000.
Well, we're going to wind down our coverage here. We've been on for quite some time. 9 o'clock, we came on the live stream. We interrupted the NBA, the final minutes of that, simply because we had the tornado warnings that were issued. The threat of severe weather is over now across the entire viewing area. We were holding out for Adair County. That is now ended. There is still a tornado warning across southern parts of Kentucky. That's down toward Monticello, moving toward the Rough River, or excuse me, I'm used to the lakes around here. But that's the Lake Cumberland area. So if you have friends or family down there, you can give them a heads up. That's going to continue, but that is out of our viewing area. So for folks that have been watching, we appreciate you jumping in. Here in Louisville, we have rain that's still falling. Temperatures will be tanking. That rain will continue for just a bit longer. We'll see a gap before some of those snow showers move in. Final words before we go, Ryan?
Yeah, you know, this could have been a whole lot worse. It was not good, that's for certain. But, you know, we didn't see the 70-plus mile-per-hour winds all over the place. That was the potential with this kind of setup. We did see it in isolated spots. There was quite a bit of damage, lots of power outages, and maybe a couple of tornado touchdowns. National Weather Service in Louisville will be working on that most likely tomorrow and this week.
Yeah, in those 2 spots, at least we believe we saw 2 spots of debris being picked up on radar tonight. One was in western Hardin County. You saw some of that damage along Highway 86 from Meredith Lee in the storm tracker. Another maybe down towards Caneyville and Grayson County. And as soon as we get that information from the Weather Service and the surveys the next couple of days, you'll hear it from us.
Yeah, we appreciate you all watching. Let me just say a big thanks to all the folks here at WAVE. I mean, boy, we've been on for a long time. It's not easy to sustain that coverage with fresh information. All of the crews out, from Meredith to Jose to Brian Good, all of their photographers who are out, everybody that's sitting back in the control room and the newsroom, Alina, and everybody that is working to sort of keep the show going behind the scenes. Thank you very much. We've been able to provide a great service. We hope you guys at home and all of those who've been watching online, on the web, or wherever you may be tuned in from, have appreciated the coverage. We're going to let you go. Hope you have a good night. Get some sleep. We'll be back here again tomorrow, bright and early. Tawana is here. A big thanks to all of the team I work with every day. Ryan Hoke, Carson Meredith, Brian Good, Tawana, Andrew. I'm Kevin Harned. Have a good night.